Dang, yeah,
I'm just taking everything over.
Off today.
What's up, you delicate delinquents? Welcome back to another episode of the Jowp podcast. Today, I am joined with Deven and Gabriel, and we are doing the TV show 3x3.
Woo, yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Oh,
well,
God.
TV show.
I can't do anything.
Can't shit.
Yeah.
Hey, at least it was there for the first shot.
That's all it takes. Well, and the candy cane's like broken too.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll leave that one. I'll
Leave
take
that
this one.
Wait, eat it?
Yeah.
Gabe hungry.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were your thoughts coming into this one?
To be honest, this might be my least favorite 3x3. I don't really watch shows all too much, so I'm here today to represent like your resident Eduardo. I'm gonna be the Eduardo of this episode, so I'm ready.
Okay.
Did you come out like purposely trying to suck then?
No, I'm not trying to suck. Just like I don't have that many TV shows I really like or care about. I still have these. I still care about these shows, just like probably not to like the extent like y'all might, because like y'all watch more TV shows than I do. I'm a loser watching nothing but like anime and cartoons.
See, like for me, I'd say it was hard because I've seen a lot of TV shows in my day, and it was kind of hard to pick like shows that not only because I don't really have to like them, but that's what's like define my taste in TV shows, which is what the point of the 3x3 is. And like I've seen all these shows, and it was hard to whittle down just the ones that like define me. And there's also the case of like I used to watch these shows all the time, but maybe they kept going and I stopped watching them, but I still care for them. Or maybe like I did love the show and it was really impactful for me, but then I did continue watching it and it just ended up being really bad. Right, like a Game of Thrones situation or something.
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard for me to pick shows, but I think I did kind of find out my list for the most part. So that's
For me, it was kind of tough as well, mainly because I think TV shows and all in all, I haven't watched a lot of them because for the most part, like live action shows go on for so long, so it's really hard to keep up with a lot of them. But I did manage to find 9. I think only one of them I haven't finished, but that's only because I haven't seen like the last season. But other than that, I'm pretty sure I finished all of them.
Yeah.
So there's that. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
All right.
Start with
me.
Start with Deven.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Deven, and what I have today is not my good list. Kick it off strong. I have the Community.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That one did almost make my list. I'm not gonna lie.
Have you seen all of the Community? Yeah, the Community is a pretty good show. I watched it fairly recently. I want to say it was about 2 years ago was when I watched it.
Didn't you watch it with Eduardo?
No, I watched it by myself because I was just going through Netflix one day, and like I've seen The Office, so I love The Office. So ever since I was seeing The Office, I always hear people's shows like Parks and Rec get brought up. The Community always got brought up. So I was going through Netflix, and I was like, I might as well watch the Community, and I fell in love with it. It does trickle within, I think, the fourth or fifth season. That's only because like the
People start leaving.
Yeah.
The lead writer, Dan Harmon, the person that made the Rick and Morty, he left, and I think he came back. But those 2 seasons, or 2 or 1 seasons he left, it was kind of mid. But all in all, I still pretty enjoyed it. Troy and Abed being the classic duo. I was like, really good. I really like the main guy,
Jeff.
Jeff is a really lovable character. I really like the dynamic of the group, and it's a pretty good show all in all.
Yeah, I agree. Like it did kind of fall off because like Troy left. I think it was like around season 4, and it's like it kind of started getting stale because like the balance of Troy and Abed was really good dynamic. So it was a little bit weird when Troy left, in my opinion, when he first left, and then you got kind of used to like the new style, whatever.
I mean, the show really should have ended around season 4 anyways.
It kept going, yeah.
And I can talk about it more later, I guess.
I mean, I do like the end, but like,
yeah, it was good. It's like notable episode that I really liked was like the Pillow Fort episode. They had like a whole like national documentary about this war that happened. It was pretty fun.
I loved all the paintballs.
Every paintball
episode was good.
But yeah, it's just a good show. The second thing on my list is Martin. I'm black, so I'm black. I'm black. I had to get my black representation, and Martin's a show I watched a lot, especially with my parents. It's a pretty good show. Martin Lawrence, super funny. I love him. He's a really good actor. He's a pretty good comedian. He plays a couple characters on the show, and some people don't like his multiple characters because they say they're like stereotypes, but I think it's like more of like a social commentary. It's kind of like a satire-esque. So that's the way I view it. It's very satire the way he does it. It's pretty funny.
Well, it's kind of like Tyler Perry, isn't it? Like with the multiple characters.
No, not really. No.
I haven't seen
Martin does it for a different reason.
Yeah,
I haven't
like
seen
Tyler
Martin.
Perry does it because I don't know why. I think it's like creative.
yeah. But well, it's pretty funny when he does it, and he's just a funny actor. And the whole show itself is pretty good. Martin Lawrence, just a normal dude. He has his girl, and he kind of put on this persona like he's all that, but he's really not. So you have episodes where he's like kind of like trying to come to that, like I'm really not all this person I talk up this game with. I think there's an episode where he has to put on a show for his girlfriend's parents because like they come from I think they're like rich or something. They have like a higher standard, so like he's trying to make himself seem like he's better than he's not. So I like episodes like that. It's pretty good. But that's basically it. The next show on my list I have Full House. Just another, I guess you could say pick me show, but it's a show that my family really loved to join. Like a lot of these shows I watched with my family. I fond memories watching Full House and all the kids and stuff and all the weird things that went on. I can't remember all too well. I can't remember like major plot points. I remember really enjoying the show, so that's why I have it on my list.
Did you ever watch Fuller House?
I did. My parents were like, "We gotta watch Fuller House." I was like,
we watched Fuller House. We watched Fuller House. Yeah.
So when that came back, it was interesting. We all had the same take. Where like it was cool seeing all those old characters, seeing like what they did like in the future, but like
kind of leave it in the past type thing.
Yeah. It was cool seeing what they were getting up to, but it wasn't exactly the same as Full House, which you can't really expect from you can't really expect that. So I wasn't trying to compare it all too much. It was an okay show. I had fun seeing I forgot what the older sister, not the older sister, the youngest sister, the one, the baddie. Yeah, she's like a DJ now, so it was kind of fun watching her do stuff.
Well, Full House is one of those shows where it's like really popular, but I know nothing about it. So like, do you even know? Could you like explain what Full House is about?
It's like just a big family. Like, so are they three brothers? Is what it is?
No, so they're friends.
They're friends, yeah, but they're basically brothers.
They're friends. It's like they're like brothers and they're uncles to the kids.
Yeah, they're uncles to each other's kids, and
they have like a freaking huge house. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4 stories if you include like the attic and the basement, because like they have like rooms and stuff in the attic and the basement.
So the show is just like basically like their families just interacting with one another, their kids or their nieces and nephews just all interacting with one another. So it's pretty fun.
It's like a reality sitcom then, kind of? Like how Friends in a sense, where it's just like people living their lives.
Yeah, just living lives.
Just living their lives, yeah.
But it's fun because like one story you're following like this 5-year-old who's getting up to antics, or you're following this 30-year-old who's just doing something.
Getting up to antics.
So just it's funny seeing like the different characters and which plot points we're following. So it's pretty fun. The next show I have on my list is Reba. Reba McEntire. Yes,
I have no idea what this is.
You know who Reba McEntire is?
No idea.
She's country
my aunt.
singer. She's a redhead country singer.
Yeah, she's my aunt.
That's a show?
Yeah.
No, they made a show about her life basically.
Is it
like it's a loose portrayal of her life? I think.
Yeah, it's sort of like, I guess you can compare it like Full House is like a reality sitcom. So Reba is this?
So is it fake?
I think it's like loosely based off of her life, but I think it mostly is like it's not like it's like reality.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Run's House?
No, I haven't seen
or like the Keeping Up with the Kardashians is like that type of reality show?
No, that's a real reality show. Even though it is scripted, it is like their actual lives.
Yeah, this is like a sitcom.
This is like a sitcom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about.
But it's like loosely based off.
So like Martin then.
Like Martin.
Yeah, like Martin. But yeah, you got this mom. She gets divorced. Her husband marries like her best friend. So that happens. But like this is a sitcom, and she has a kid with like her ex-husband. So now she's coming to terms with, like her best friend marrying like her ex-husband, and it's just a family sitcom. That's basically what it is. But like extra steps.
Yeah.
I can't remember the dude's name. There's this guy, and he's super funny. Have you never seen Reba? I know. I never seen Reba. This is one character, and I think he's the boyfriend of her daughter. And he's super funny. He's just a dumb character. He's like Ed from Ed and Eddie. He's just dumb. He's literally just dumb. But he's super funny.
Yeah, a song that's like a single mom that works 2 jobs.
It never stops. Yeah. I have a lot of.
Pretty sure it's Reba, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Reba. I didn't know that was the actual song till you told me. I thought it was just the opening to like the show.
No, that's an actual song.
I didn't know it was an actual
I didn't know it was the opening to the show. I knew it was an actual song.
So yeah, I like that we have 2.0 views on that song.
How'd you even find this show?
My parents. I like
they put you on. They were like, "This heat."
Yeah, when I was a kid, when I got home from school, I was usually with my parents, and we just wherever came on, whether they were watching Disney Channel or wherever they wanted to watch, we just watched shows. So yeah, a lot of like a lot of these shows are just like shows I watched as a kid, not really like watched later on, because I grew up not really liking shows all that much unless I was watching with someone. Because like one of my parents, I was just spending time with my family. It was on TV, so I have close ties with these shows because of that reason.
Yeah.
But a show that I did watch recently was The Boys.
The Boys.
Solid.
Yeah.
You gotta put some respect on it.
I put respect on The Boys. I really like The Boys. When it first came out, I did not watch it. I actually recently watched this I think it was last year when I got into it. It was this year or last year. I remember binging all of it. When did season 3 come out?
This year.
So I watched it this year because I misheard season 3 was coming out this year, so I binged it all. And I caught up with season 3. Overall, it was a pretty good show. I really enjoy it. How could you talk about the show and not talk about Homelander?
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to say he carries the show because he doesn't, but like he's so good. Like to say like I couldn't see anyone else playing that character. I didn't even know who this actor was until he played. Yeah, I didn't even know who he was till he played Homelander. And he plays just such a perfect Homelander. Like the way he conveys, like he's so like terrifying, but like at the same time, like you kind of see like the cracks. Like when he tries to like smile, but he's also like scary. Yeah. He's an actual maniac. That means not sane in real life. I refuse to believe that means like sane in real life.
It's also funny because like I see a bunch of videos with like Anthony Starr, and like, I don't know if he's like in character.
Yeah.
He's like, get the fuck out of my face.
He's just Homelander in real life.
Quit fucking talking to me.
There was this like this whole spat that happened with Anthony Starr like a while ago before season 3 came out, where he like was at a Starbucks and he was like, "Do you know who I am?" And he like yelled at him. Everyone's like, "Bro, he actually is Homelander."
He just Homelander in real life.
He's not playing. That's just.
But overall, the whole cast is pretty good. I had my issues with season 2. I didn't hate it as much as I think some people did, but I did find it kind of slowing down.
It was slow, yeah.
In certain places, I liked certain aspects of season 2. But overall, like it's an okay season. Season 3 was pretty good. I didn't like how it ended. The ending did kind of make me a little upset. Not upset, but like it was kind of weird. Like I don't I mean, it's been a while. I don't know. I can talk about the.
I think like spoiler warning. I guess
it's been so long. I don't care, man. There's so many memes about season 3.
Season 3, yeah.
You've been spoiled already. If you haven't, I don't know what you're doing, bro. Like, why are you waiting this long? Waiting?
Yeah, just go. You know what? Pause this. Go watch all of season 1, 2, and 3 of The Boys, and then come back, and then we can like be caught up.
Yeah, I really like Soldier Boy. He was a really cool character.
He was really cool, yeah.
And I really like the story between.
I love the Soldier Boy being
5'5".
What did you say?
5'5". He told me everybody's fly.
Yeah, that song's actually a banger though.
It's a big book.
I would low key listen to it. I'm like, oh snap, bro. Soldier Boy kind of
everybody's fly.
Yeah, I really liked his character, and I don't like how they just got rid of him at the end. Or like they could have done it, but I think there was like a better way to do it. I didn't like the execution.
See, I did like it.
You did like it?
I just don't like how Maeve survived. I thought she should have died. I think it would be more impactful if she died there.
I mean, she lost her powers.
But she didn't die, though. I think it would have been more impactful if she died in the situation.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's just me, though.
I didn't really have a problem with it. I did have a problem with how they just killed, like, Black Noir. And then, like, because he gave him all this, like, backstory. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like,
he's like, now he's dead. I'm like, okay, he's dead now. I would like to see interactions between him and Soldier Boy and, like...
Well, I did like the cartoons that they did in his mind.
Exactly.
Like him and Soldier Boy, like the old crew. Yeah, that was pretty fun.
I would have liked to see like interactions between those two, but overall, I still like the show. It's a pretty solid show, and nothing it's done has really put me off from the show. Of course, it has its criticisms, so overall, it's a pretty good show.
Yeah. One thing I didn't like, and I don't think I liked it because it was like so obvious. I didn't like that Homelander ended up being Soldier Boy's son. Like really? I actually didn't like that because. It was just like the instant I saw Soldier Boy, I'm like, he's gonna end up being Homelander's dad, and then it got confirmed. Like it just felt like it was.
You saw that like right off the bat. I never thought about it.
As soon as I saw Soldier Boy and like him doing anything power related, I'm like, yeah, he's Homelander's dad. And then it just like they revealed. It's like it just felt bland. Like yeah, they introduced a new like really fucking strong character, and of course he has to be Homelander's dad. Like it just like I remember I don't think I was on the episode, but you talked about it, Gabe. How it's like a lot of like animes and stuff. If it's a strong character like the MC, they have to have a strong relative.
This one's different though because in the in the lore of the boys though, the way Compound V works is it doesn't work with everyone. It works with certain people. So it working with Soldier Boy and then also working with the son makes sense because of genetics.
No, it makes sense. I just didn't like the fact that it's like his dad was the strongest and then now he's the strongest. I just didn't really like that. It was just like a personal thing. It's for like you could have just, I don't know, just different bloodlines. It didn't have to be the same, in my opinion.
I guess.
I think it's still they did it well and it still worked out well.
Well,
but
then Soldier Boy wasn't even the strongest. He was just the most iconic. Homelander is the strongest, but Soldier Boy wasn't the strongest. He just said
during his time.
Well, during his time, he was the #1 hero.
And yeah, like, but being #1 doesn't make you the strongest.
I mean, he's also the strongest among his team. Like he was bitching all of them.
No, he
was not see the animation.
No,
he looked at Black Noir.
Dude, he literally like beat the fuck out of Black Noir.
And then
but like that's because Black Noir didn't want to fight back. If Black Noir wanted to fight back, I feel like he could win that.
No,
I don't think so. Not at that time.
Not at that time.
He gave him like permanent damage.
Yeah, he
bashed his skull in. He fucked his face up so much.
No, that's what the bomb did.
No, I thought he like
smashed it. The bomb did that.
No, during the explosion, he like was fighting back and like smashed Noir's head. I'm pretty sure.
I know
right?
the bomb did give him like his permanent damage, but I remember the scene of the cartoon. He did hit his head, and it's like you see like blood spatter. I can't remember the whole thing.
Yeah, like Soldier Boy was like, and like with the shield, and it like you see blood splat out of his head, and that's like where his cut is.
So yeah. But I don't know. I didn't really have an issue with him being his dad. I mean, in my mind, it made sense. And like, as long as something makes sense, I don't care how tropey. If they make it make sense in the world.
Well, like I said, it definitely does make sense, and like I understand like the family lineage why it makes sense with the Compound V. It's just like, in my mind, when I watched it, I was like, of course, like his dad would end up being Soldier Boy. Like it just felt tropey, which I'm fine with tropes. It is what it is. But it's just like I thought it would be something different. But I mean, that's just me.
I guess. Yeah.
It's a personal thing.
I see. But I can move on to my next choice. I have Limitless.
I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah, Limitless. It's been a minute.
I remember the movie.
I'm not gonna cap. I don't know if I can properly portray like the whole story, but I do know like he was kind of like this nobody, and I can't remember if he was going to jail or like they had him in custody. But like he ended up being a detective basically, because every time he takes the pill, he gets like smart.
Yeah.
And I remember watching that, since I'm a kid with ADHD, my parents were like, look, Devin, you have superpowers. I'm like, whoa.
What I do? I take Adderall? Okay.
I can like, let me take my Focalin and let me like, beep, beep. And that's sort of how it feels when I take like my ADHD medicine. Like I feel like a different person. I haven't taken it in so long, but like I feel like a different person. Like at the time, my parents like that's the whole reason I'm not on the medicine anymore, because my parents like, yeah, we didn't like how you seem like a robot and you seem like not our child, so like we took you off it.
That's a big complaint with like stuff like that. Though.
Yeah, you didn't seem like our child. Like you got good grades and like you were like smart, but like we didn't like how like it had effects on you. But watching the show was really cool. I really liked the main character, and I really liked like how like he had to struggle with himself. Like I'm like basically useless unless I take this pill. And like I like how the pill was like also like not like legal whatsoever. So like he was sort of like on the law side, but like he was doing it in corrupted ways.
Yeah.
But that's all I can really say about the show, since it's been so long and been so long since I've seen it. But I do remember really liking it, and it's a show that really had a pretty big impact on my life when I was younger.
Yeah, I never watched the show. I watched the movie though. With it was him.
Wasn't that the guy who played Thor? Because I remember when I looked up images, I typed in Limitless and I saw Thor. I'm like, why is
Chris Hemsworth?
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth. I was like, why is Chris Hemsworth?
I don't think he was in that movie. I think Scarlett.
Maybe it's a different movie.
Scarlett Johansson in there. I know Morgan Freeman was in there because he was the one explaining how the pill worked. And so that was like the meme was like, what if we used 100% of our brain?
Oh, that movie.
I thought that was from Lucy.
Yeah, that's not.
You're thinking of Lucy.
Oh, I'm
yeah,
okay. So I guess I'm thinking about. Okay. Yeah. I got them flipped.
What if we use 100% of our brains? I remember the memes from that.
I thought that was like a Limitless movie. I guess I was tripping.
There is a Limitless movie.
Yeah, I guess I associated those two together because like it's a pill that makes you like activate part of your. It's like the same premise, I guess.
I guess, but the show did it first. I'm just saying.
I think Lucy is based on a book. I
don't know. I just know it's a pill that makes you use your brain and makes you smart.
Yeah. It was based on the myth that like you only use like what 2% of your brain,
like 7% or 10%.
I think they compared it to like a sheep. I remember the sheep being like involved in that.
I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I guess that's why I like crossed them.
So long. But all right, FNAF boy. But
I love Living Tombstone.
Don't we all? But the next thing I have on my list, I have Boy Meets World.
I guess you and Jose got something in common.
Yeah. It's a good show. Have you seen the show? Have you all seen the show?
It's been a long time. I know like there was like the spinoff like the Girl Meets World.
Yeah, Girl Meets World. I actually watched it.
I didn't watch that.
I watched it.
But like I watched Boy Meets World the same way I watched Full House and stuff like that. It's just it was on like at night sometimes, and I would watch it. So I never watched it like sequentially, but I ended up totality watching a lot of it. I just don't remember anything from the shows.
I remember watching parts of Girl Meets World, like, because it was like around like high school, right? Freshman year when it was coming out.
Yeah. So
I remember seeing it on Disney Channel. I was like, oh, Girl Meets World, I'll see it. And then like my dad was like, yeah, that's based on a show that already exists. He was like, that guy, he was the main character.
Yeah,
like,
he was cool. He was a cool character. He was a cool kid.
But isn't that the same show with Farkle, right?
Farkle. Yes.
Because I remember one scene was so cringy when they found out he had Asperger's or something, and they treated it like he had cancer or something. Yeah.
What?
They were sitting there. They're like, the results came in. You have Asperger's. And he was like, yeah, I knew I had Asperger's. They're like, no, it's not true. We can get treatment. They're not right. And I was like, why are they acting so weird about this? Maybe it wasn't Asperger's. I know it was like some type of.
You get something.
Maybe it was Asperger's, but it was like analogous to something else. Like there was nothing in the world.
I can't remember. Farkle was a weird character, and then like his son. I don't remember what his name is. Like Farkle's son. I don't know if they share the same name. It was Boy Meets World was an interesting show. I really like the main character. I like how he was just like an ordinary kid who just did things.
He meets the world.
Yeah, he meets like he does. He was like one who met the world. I really liked how like he had this best friend who was kind of like a troublemaker. So you try to get him to do things, and like he'll do them, and then he'd be like, maybe I shouldn't.
He regret it, yeah.
Yeah, he would like regret it. It taught like a lot of life lessons, and they did it in ways that were super interesting. They weren't like very preachy about like don't do drugs. Don't make the character like, hey, I want to do drugs, and like they're like their teacher would be like why'd you do that? Not like no, but like come on, man. Like I know what you like. He'll bail him out. Basically, like he'll bail him out like his the predicament he'll get in. So it was pretty interesting. And then he has his girlfriend, or like the girl he wanted, Topanga, I think was his name was.
Yeah, something like that.
She grew up to be a baddie. She's baddie.
Oh, is she the mom from?
Yeah.
Her face is alright, but like her body, yeah.
Yeah, she's a baddie.
She's a baddie, yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like a lot like iCarly.
I'm not saying what we were talking about.
No, not the character. I mean, like the show.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it was just about a group of kids, and they went to school, and this character was like, I know it's funny. He was learning about the world around him, and like,
it's like Carly.
I guess. I mean, was Carly learning about the world around her?
Yeah. I would assume so.
I guess. I mean,
I don't think so. I think it was more so like learning how to deal with like fame.
How to deal with
like how to deal with fame. The same thing with like Victorious is like kind of like. You're going through life, but you're learning how to deal with deal with the side effects of being like a young star.
Yeah, but like in this show, they'll cover things. I
guess I call it.
I think Victorious wasn't. I didn't think Victorious had a lesson. I don't.
No.
Maybe.
I think it was just
no. Literally, I don't think iCarly actually had that lesson. I was just like, if you had to apply if I had to like reach for some logic as to what's the meaning behind this show, it would be like dealing with fame and notoriety.
You were saying, I was like, iCarly could have a lesson. Like I was joking when I said it was like.
Oh, okay.
One. But like iCarly could have a lesson, but it definitely.
Like I don't actually believe that. I think it's just a show that was on Nickelodeon for kids. But it's like if you had to like put deeper meaning and deeper thought into it, you could maybe reach and say that it was about dealing with that. In my opinion.
Yeah, because Boy Meets World, they did have a lesson. They covered topics like racism, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, or just like
Static
Shock did that. Yeah,
that was funny.
That was funny. And it was just a good show. And Girl Meets World tries like I think Girl Meets World is a pretty good like successor to Boy Meets World. Like a lot of people who like the show, like Boy Meets World, said like Girl Meets World is a pretty good successor. Yeah, they think Boy Meets World might have been a little bit better, but like, you know, that could be biased or they grew up with it.
That's usually a lot of shows do work when it's like long-term differences in time like that. Like Full House is better than Full House.
But the thing is, like Girl Meets World did the same thing where I tried to tackle topics, but like in today's standards. So like it was pretty interesting. I actually
the Asperger's.
And it was pretty fun. It was pretty cool. All the old characters had kids. Like Farkle and Farkle's son,
Farkle Jr.
I don't know. It might have been Farkle Jr. Low-key, but it was really cool. It was a really fun show, and yeah.
It was autism. That's what it was.
Autism.
Yeah, but they were treating it like it was like the worst thing ever. They're like, it's not true. The results are wrong. We can fight this. He's like, it's fine, guys. I'm autistic. They're like, no, you're not.
Oh, actually, I do remember that. Yeah, because there was this guy from Texas, and he was just like, you know, stereotypical Texas boy. He had the cowboy hat. I was like, not every nigga from Texas is like this, but he was like, "You will get through this."
That sounds like a Rick and Morty skit.
It was just I was like, being like, why?
Like, yeah, come on. He's like, come on, Rick. It's okay, Rick.
The more we talk about it, the more I remember the scene because I remember the Texas guy had like a black friend.
I'm not racist, guys.
I had a black guy.
I got me one of them.
He's one of the good ones.
He's one of the good ones. But I think this is my 8th show. The 8th show I have on my list is the show that came on Discovery Channel called The Most Outrageous Acts of Science.
I think I remember that show.
Never heard of it.
It wasn't like a sitcom or anything. It was more of the way the best I can describe it, the way the show worked was they got a bunch of scientists, like just scientists from all types of fields, right? And they might make them watch like YouTube videos of like random people doing like the craziest shit, and they'll explain the science behind it. So like this Russian guy will get drunk, go in a frozen lake, and stay in it for 30 minutes, and they'll be like, oh, well, this is why this guy can do that. Or they'll show people who like have like a Tesla, like this Tesla like thing that shoots like the electricity out of it, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And like this guy had a chainmail armor on, and he was playing the guitar, and it was like shooting lightning out of it. And they'll just explain like
how that works.
Yeah, so they have like countdown. So basically like they have like the way it worked, like, oh, this is most top 10 outrageous acts of science nature edition or mechanic edition, and then that was like a 10 all the way to 1 was something really cool. And I mean, like, if you know me, like, I really enjoyed science. I'm an engineer for the Air Force, so I really I was always like a science kid. I was always like a STEM major type guy. So watching that really like helped my like, oh, science is so cool. Whoa, this guy just blew this apple up with like nitrogen chloride. It was cool. Yeah. I thought about putting what's the show called? Mythbusters on the list.
Oh yeah.
But I put this on the list because I liked it a little bit more. It was cool. But yeah, that's a
choice.
Yeah. I remember watching it. I didn't watch it a lot, but I remember it like being on TV. Like,
yeah, it was on Discovery Channel. Oddly enough, I found the Discovery Channel because like one day like I got grounded, so my parents were like, you can't watch no cartoons, and it was the summer. So then I was like, Shark Week. And then ever since then, like I still to this day watch Shark Week because Shark Week is so cool.
Shark Week's the go, yeah.
But like Shark Week would end, so then be like, oh yeah, all these other science shows, and I saw the most outrageous acts of science.
Yeah, I don't like Discovery Channel now though. A lot of times it just ends up being either like a vet show or like some kind of like The Curse of Oak Island or something like that. Yeah, like some kind of like drama show. Yeah. Like it's real, but it's not really like there's searching for the lost treasure. But it's been like 30 seasons or some shit, and they still haven't found it. And it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
No, they're like, yeah, we found everything in the island, but then we found this coin, which means that there might be, and it's like next time on. And it doesn't really do anything, you know?
Yeah, it would be something stupid. I mean, I follow this one YouTuber. He parodies the Discovery Channel. He's like, yeah, we're ice guys. Why? Because we're two guys. We love ice. We gotta go outside, and then there's like best with ice all day. It's the dumbest things on Discovery Channel.
That's what Discovery Channel has become nowadays, though.
There's two people with a gimmick, and then they just do it.
They just do it, 30
yeah. 30,
like the
like,
antiquing show.
Yeah,
it's like, you got it, dog.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, this is like my final show on my list. It's quite obvious. It's The Office. It's my favorite show. I've watched all 9 seasons 12 times.
Yeah, the numbers, like, actually, yeah.
I know it off the top of my mind because I've done it 12 times. Yeah. I've rewatched it with so many people. I've put people like, hey, you should watch The Office, and I rewatch it with them. It's for an excuse for me to rewatch it. I love it. I fell in love with this show. I think it's one of the first shows where I found on my own. I just watched on my own. I really like the whole cast. I do admit it does get bad at a third season because Michael Scott does leave.
Yeah, he leaves.
And Michael's like,
he's the Rock.
He carries.
I want to say he carries.
He's like the Rock that holds everyone
together, though. Because he plays so well off of all these characters. So he's like more like a glue that makes more like sense. Anchor, yeah. He's an anchor. So once he left, like, yeah, the show was still funny at times, but it was definitely not the same. But nah, I really love this show.
I know Bob Odenkirk was on an episode. He did like the Gangnam Style because I keep seeing that clip on TikTok.
Yeah, and he had so many cameos for so many characters. Will Ferrell was on it. Will Ferrell was the boss for an episode. He took
it was like almost a whole. It was like half a season or something like that.
No, Will Ferrell was only on for one season or one episode.
It was more than one episode.
Will Ferrell?
Yes, it was like half a season because then he like hurt his back in the. It was
either it was like a couple. I don't think it was like a whole season.
Half a season.
Half a season.
It was like roughly half a season.
It's been a while since I've seen it. I've seen it 12 times. That was like back when I was younger.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like half a season.
When I first watched the show, I think I was a freshman and then I watched it all up to like my senior year. But yeah, there were so many cameos. All the pranks that Jim did on Dwight was super funny. Like when because with him he was Asian, and you replaced him with that one Asian guy who's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe a lot. Wu.
Yeah.
The guy who does the
Jimmy
cartoon.
Woo, yeah.
Yeah. So like I like the joke. Like I didn't know Jim was in the was in Ant-Man. So I love that. I love those.
Jim knows
memes.
magic.
And he's also still Jim.
Yeah, he's still Jim.
Jimmy Woo.
Jimmy Woo. So I love the memes.
Wasn't that the whole thing where he became like Asian? What's his name? Howard? Who's
Jim.
He became Asian Jim.
Yeah. So Jim Halpert, the guy, he replaced himself with an Asian guy. Replaced all his family photos with him.
It was like a prank. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. And then
he like kissed Pam and stuff, and like
And Dwight
he knew
was
the passwords for everything.
He knew the So like the meme carried on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So people were like, "Yo, I didn't know Jim Halpert was in Ant-Man." So it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But no, overall, I think what carries in this opinion is just the cast. The writing in the earlier seasons is just super good. The comedy is always on point. I think it's like seasons. I don't really like season 1, so I usually like saying season 2 through I think 5, because I think Michael Scott leaves season 6.
Something like that, yeah.
I think 6 or 7. And the writing, the comedy is so on point. The timing is just it's immaculate.
I think that seems to be like a theme that I noticed a lot with shows that go for usually like 5 and more seasons. It seems like season 1 is never the best, but it gets you
good
hooked enough.
Yeah.
And season 2 is where it really like takes off.
Yeah.
See, that's the funny thing, because like I can the hardest part of making people watch The Office is season 1. Season 1 is they didn't really know what to do with Michael Scott's character, so they made him this like outlandish, overly racist this guy. And
well, not like overtly racist, but like accidentally racist.
And he still is that, but like it's more than that. He's naive, and like, his character is he wants to fit in, and he does it, and like he just overly does whatever he does. So like they flush out his character in season 2, and they just make him not this pointless character. But yeah, season 1 is rough. I admit it's hard to see. There's some gold mines like the race episode. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah,
like,
like
diversity.
It's
called diversity training.
Yeah.
So you see the glimpses like oh, this is really funny, and I think they really pick it up in season 2.
I like the one where it's like Dwight had like Asian, and then Pam's like, I don't believe this, but like stereotypically you're bad drivers.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, am I a woman?
And things like that are like, it's just funny. And they didn't hold back. I guess it was 2005, so
it was a different era.
It was a different era, so like seeing that comedy is it's
refreshing. It's
really appealing to my opinion as a freshman. But overall, that was basically it.
Any honorable mentions and other shows you would shout out to?
I guess I thought about putting The Fresh Prince on the list. I replaced it with Martin because I liked Martin just a tad bit more. I mean, I hold them both at a certain standard, but I think I've seen more of Martin.
I feel like I've seen all of Fresh Prince on TikTok.
On TikTok? It's
like TikTok's like Subway servers underneath. There's like different episodes. Like every time if I ever see a part 1, I always like go to their page and just watch the whole like up
That's
until
crazy.
I don't know why. Like any show, like even if it's like Family Guy, which I've seen Family Guy a bajillion times. Like if it's like part 1 or part 2, I'm like, I'll finish the episode. I'll watch the episode.
I've only done those like the medical stuff because every once in a while I get like a medical clip, like some like The Good Doctor or something, and I was like,
I like The Good Doctor. I want to watch that.
So do I. I
want to get into it because I've seen so many clips. I'm like, damn, this actually looks kind of good.
Yeah, I kind of want to watch
like this.
Is that the guy who has autism?
Yeah, he has autism. He's like a really like smart doctor. He's a good doctor.
I want to watch
Good Doctor.
He's a good doctor.
Yeah, Good Doctor. I also wanted to put Chicago Med on my list because I love Chicago Med.
I did want to put one of the Chicagos on here, but I think the other ones are more defining of my like
taste.
Not just taste, but like eras throughout my life.
Yeah, the reason why I didn't put the reason I didn't put Chicago Med on my list, because like I seen spurts. I haven't sat down properly and watched all of it, but I seen episodes here and there, and I found myself really enjoying it. I think the last show I just thought of, I can't think of it anymore. I can't think of it, but Everyone Hates Chris. I thought of that's another one I want to put on my list, but even then I haven't seen. I remember just catching a couple episodes here and there, but I remember the episodes I liked, I really loved.
Yeah, that's how I feel about most of the Chicago stuff. Is I've seen a lot of episodes, just never like continuously, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of my family and I, like you said, watched a lot of shows together, and we usually would watch shows like when they would first start airing, and then things would come up and we'd miss one episode, and like things happen, and then you get off course. So usually I've seen like half of season 1 or most of season 1 as it was airing, and then or even like just like the break between season 1 and season 2, we just forget to watch it when season 2 comes out, right? So it's like we've seen a lot of shows that were like good, and then we just like didn't continue to watch it because of whatever happened. So that's what I feel like about a lot of shows.
Yeah, I feel that. That's why like with this list, I was like, I could talk about some shows more in depth, but like some shows I knew I really liked, but like it's been so long since I've seen them, so like some
I have a lot of
things
shows on here
like
that, yeah.
kind of went out my mind. So sorry if it wasn't coherent, but
I think you did a good job.
All right, I guess I'll go next.
Yeah.
I'll start with the repeats. I have Community as well. I think that's it. I don't think he said any of the other ones. All right. Oh, he did say The Boys. I had The Boys as well.
okay.
It's a newer show, but I mean, the only thing I could say about The Boys extra is like season 3. I think the way Deven feels about season 2 is kind of how I feel about season 3. Where like I didn't really like season 3 because it felt like the whole season was kind of pointless, because in the end they just kind of made the whole season not really matter. Because like the whole point was like, oh, we have Soulja Boy, we can finally kill Homelander, and then they just don't do anything with it, and like, no, this is wrong.
And they end up like pseudo teaming up with Homelander.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Because like, oh, you punched Ryan, so what? Kill Homelander, then figure it out, or like, I don't know. It's so weird.
That's what I said. I don't like the last episode, but the whole season, I felt like it was building up to something else.
It was. That's my issue though. That because the whole season was building up just to nullify it, makes the whole season feel pointless.
I guess.
It's like, do we even need season 3 at that point?
It's kind of like what I was saying. Like, I wish like Queen Maeve would have died. Like at least something would have.
I don't even
changed.
think that would have changed anything.
No, but
it wouldn't
it,
have changed
like,
anything.
I don't know. I feel like just something needed to permanently happen.
I just think Soulja Boy had to be more relevant than just, oh, well, we found him. We could have done something, but we didn't. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah.
It feels like there's only like a few points in season 3. I'm like, that's useful for the future, but for the most part, it felt kind of pointless because of the ending. So that's why I didn't really like season 3. I mean, all watching season 3, I loved it. I was having so much fun. Hero-gasm, the fight was awesome.
Yeah,
it was so great, but then I just felt like it was pointless after that. I actually really loved season 2. I'm just curious on why you didn't like season 2.
It just felt slow. I mean, like I liked. How do I explain it? I think I like the back half of season 2 more, like when they were fighting Stormfront. But like, the whole thing just felt like, I don't know. I didn't really feel attached to it all that much. It just felt like things were happening. I like the story of Stormfront. Like, yeah, she's this racist character and she's like Lady Liberty and all that. But overall, I was like, okay. I don't think I disliked it. I think I said that I don't dislike it. I just found it okay, in my opinion.
Okay. All right, well, next one I have Everybody Hates Chris. I had to have my black representative too, and I was like, Everybody Hates Chris. It's like he was one of the goats back then.
One of the goats.
Every day in the morning, there was 2 shows I watched, so I guess he's not even mentioned. George Lopez. I didn't put that one in the list, but George Lopez coming at like 5 in the morning for some reason. Yeah. Every time I heard that dun 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 dun, I'm like, let's go. And then Everybody Hates Chris. Those were all like early morning TV shows for some reason. So I remember all the time I used to watch those. I'm like, let's get it. I used to wake up early just to watch Everybody Hates Chris. I'm like, I gotta watch it. Yeah. I love it. The characters in Everybody Hates Chris just so funny. Like Chris Rock as the narrator.
Yeah, he's stuck in my head. Like, every time I hear someone bring up the show, I'm like, yep, I hear Chris Rock in my head narrating right now.
Julius being like the chief and always having like the funniest and stupid ways to be chief.
Yep.
It's hilarious. Like he would like call on the landline, but he would like, I think he would only use like the preview you get, so he didn't have to pay for the phone call. So good. There was like a whole Twitter
and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was like a whole Twitter thread I remember. It was like, post your favorite moments of Julius being cheap. And I was like, this is just great. Everybody Hates Chris, it was just a fun kid show I had. I have a few shows on here just like when I was younger. None of them are not really like adult shows. And that being said, next one I got Drake and Josh. He's kind of a legend in the community. The show you can't really think Nickelodeon shows without thinking Drake and Josh.
That's kind of true.
Interesting. Okay.
Like an iconic. I'm surprised. I thought Deven liked Drake and Josh, but
I do, but I didn't think about Drake and Josh. I'm not gonna cap. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, Drake and Josh, like, what else is there to say, man? If you've never seen Drake and Josh, you gotta. I don't even know how many seasons it is. It's not that long, is it? It's like maybe 3 or 4.
I want to say it's because I think it's when I saw all the Drake Bell stuff that happened. I remember like people talking about Drake and Josh, and it surprised me how few episodes there were.
Yeah,
like, I thought there was more.
Because I thought it was like 8, but then I remember
like
that
seasons. I was like, yeah, it's like 8 or 9 seasons, but it's like no, it's actually like 3 or something weird like that.
If you think about his runtime,
people are saying a lot of old like Nick shows are like that because of the way they were spaced out. They make you think they run for longer than they do. Yeah, because they just run a lot of reruns.
Yeah.
And then because you're a kid, you don't watch things sequentially, so you kind of just watch stuff out of order.
That jumps around,
and then you forget. You're like, oh yeah, I've seen this. Like you just get lost to track of how many episodes there actually.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, like Drake and Josh, great show. I loved the cast. Helen, great. Spencer, whatever. Crazy Steve on the show. Crazy Steve. Drake's just a great character as well.
Master.
Yeah.
The Rizzler.
The Rizzler.
The Wizard of Oz.
I have another Rizzler on my list as well too, but we'll get there. And Josh, I thought Megan was like. At some points when I was younger, I was like, this Megan girl, man. This
Megan. All my homies hate Megan.
Yeah. And then I grew up, I was just like, why these niggas let this little sister punk them like that?
She'd be like, boobs.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember.
It's always funny looking back at old shows, seeing how like outdated like insults are. Like, have you ever seen that one clip from Ben 10 where he's talking to Gwen? He's like, "Your butt is huge," and like that was an insult back then.
I do not remember.
That's the thing. Like the early 2000s is like your butt looks big or your legs look big, and they're always like,
I can't do it anymore.
They wanted to be small.
Yeah. Now everyone's like, I want that fatty.
Now everyone's like, I want the fatty. If I ain't climbing without no hands, like.
I think Drake and Josh shows a lot. If you watch some of those like episodes, you kind of see like, oh yeah, that is like outdated humor. And I think growing up in that timeline, I think it has a little bit of appeal to us. Maybe to some younger people, it won't have the same appeal because they don't get it.
Different era.
Yeah, but for us, we kind of grew up in that era. We're like, yeah, that was funny at the time. Now it's just kind of like, it's whatever.
I still find myself laughing at Drake and Josh jokes.
Well, it's because you're from that era, though.
Well, yeah, I guess.
So like if Mason or Angie were to watch it, they wouldn't get it as much. They probably wouldn't get it. Like. A lot of their humor, like not a lot, but I remember specific times like with like the computers, like with telephones, like it was different the way you would utilize that technology versus like how we would now.
Exactly.
But I think like there's just a dynamic between Drake and Josh. Just like it just resonates throughout generations because like there's a funny duo. Like that one episode with them in the treehouse.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Drake. Where's the door?
Right there.
Looking back, didn't they have like a window that they could just like crawl out of?
Well, they did.
Oh, they did. Okay, yeah. It's been a long time since I watched it. But I was like, I'm pretty sure like next to the door there was a window.
Yeah.
They could just.
But they couldn't put like I don't think they put their full body. I think they stick their head out. I think I remember like the hole was just big enough where they could put some body parts through. I think. But like our episode where Josh kissed that trainee.
Yeah. How about when
did that happen?
I remember he kissed a girl. He was like. Thanks for the kiss, and the girl responded like, "You're welcome," but like it was in a deep voice.
Thanks, bro.
And you looked at her like,
hey, how about when Josh hit Oprah with his car?
Oh yeah,
classic.
He hit Oprah.
Classic.
I think I did hit Oprah.
Didn't they also have like a Christmas special movie? I remember, or is that where Oprah is? Is that where he hits Oprah?
I remember the Christmas thing.
I remember the Christmas thing, but I think Oprah was a different.
I don't
know why. I keep thinking of like an amusement. When I think of like him hitting Oprah, I keep thinking of like an amusement park one. Where they're like waiting in line.
Well, no, because when he hit Oprah, I think they were in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, that would make
sense.
They
were in Hollywood when he hit Oprah.
Sense.
Yeah, I remember the Christmas special movie too, and I was like, this is just great. This is classic. I think it came out quite a bit after the show ended, like maybe like 2 years or something. I want to think, and I was like, oh, finally more Drake and Josh content, easy money.
Mm-hmm. Easy money. And then they had the Josh had the that show with John Stamos. Like fathered or grandfather.
I think I know you're talking about.
It was where John Stamos was his dad, and then was his dad or?
I never watched it, but I know you're talking.
Yeah, it's like John Stamos was like his dad.
Josh Peck.
Yeah, and then like Drake was there, and he's like, "Hey, you look like my stepbrother" or something like that.
Oh.
And he's like, "Yeah, you look like my stepbrother. He hit Oprah with his car or something." It was something to that.
Yeah,
like that vein.
I like when shows do that. There's like a little nod to something like that. Have you seen that like deleted scene in iCarly where Drake walks in? He's like, "Hey, what's up, Megan?"
I actually did see that.
But also I think Drake and Josh are part of the reason why I liked Drake a little bit, like even outside of Drake and Josh, because I was just like, oh, Drake is just a charismatic guy, and I kind of like him in shows and movies. So like that's why I liked Ultimate Spider-Man as a show, because I was like, Drake is he's a good Peter Parker. He's very
charismatic.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the Drake, like the Fairly Odd Parents movies.
Oh, yeah, I did that too.
Yeah, the
live
action movies. Yeah.
I was like, Drake as Timmy kind of works. Like,
I totally forgot he was Spider-Man. And I love that show, Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, that was part of the reason I loved it. I loved his Peter Parker. It was Drake.
I never put two to two together. Like I was older. Like, oh, that was Drake Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I always knew because like the credits.
The credits, yeah. I didn't look at the credits. I did not care.
But yeah, let's go on to the next one. We'll go another kids show. I got Wizards of Waverly Place. This is my Disney Channel representative.
So this is what you do. Okay.
I have representatives for
you represent that. I feel you.
Wizards of Waverly Place was I can't really like. Honestly, I don't remember much about Wizards of Waverly Place, the show. I just remember like the whole premise is like this is a wizard family and they're trying to fit in. They don't want to tell everyone they're wizards. And like there's a separate world. There's a wizard world and there's the human world. They kind of live with each other. And this family has I can't remember who David or is it Henry, the brother.
Oh, okay. So Max is the younger brother.
Max,
Alex, and
fuck, what was his name?
Yeah. Justin.
Yeah,
okay.
Justin.
So Justin, he's the smart, he's the prodigy. He studies everything. He's the good kid. He plays everything by the book. He's all around the good son. He's a goody two shoes and all that. Max is the younger one. He's stupid, dumb. Yeah,
I don't think he had nothing for the most part either, right?
No, he did.
He wasn't good at it.
No, he
wasn't good at it because he was stupid.
No, he was good, but he would use it as like pranks. He wouldn't actually like. He wasn't like good like Alex or Justin level, but he was good enough. But he wouldn't use it the way that it was supposed to be used.
I thought the whole joke was like he could barely use it, so like he always like relied on them to do it. He was like
he also couldn't.
Well, it's because he was stupid and he couldn't learn the spell.
Well, I also thought couldn't he like not control it either? Like he could like do it, but it wouldn't be like. So if he wants to make the water bottle float, it'd be like like it was like flying or something.
But I think that was just the show. I mean, this is my opinion. I don't know, but like I just thought that was the show trying to say he's dumb, so he's not good at magic. I don't think it was like
that's how I took it.
I didn't think he was innately bad at it. I thought it was just because he's dumb and he doesn't study this spell, which is why it never worked out well for him. Whereas Justin's always worked out well because he studies it perfectly. He makes sure he does everything right. And then Alex's character, she's just the middle child. She's our main character, and she kind of just. Like she's really lucky. Things just work out for her, and which would make Justin mad. Justin like mad that everything kind of just goes her way. She's kind of spoiled in the family as well, and she's really good at magic mainly because she's a prodigy as well, and also everything just goes good for her. So she's kind of lucky. Sometimes she does
the luck
stuff.
aspect.
It works out for me.
Yeah, for Justice's case, like he's a prodigy, but I think it's more like
he's
like hard work.
Yeah. That's probably why he gets mad at Alex because I don't think Justin is a prodigy. I think he's just really smart and he has that. He is able to study. And he has that drive, So he's really good. But then Alex is like equally as good without doing anything. Yeah. So
she's more like a natural prodigy, while he's just like.
He's like.
Isn't that still a prodigy?
It's still a prodigy.
Like if you're good really young, doesn't that still make you a prodigy? Like regardless of how hard you put in the work.
Yeah, Alex is more of a prodigy, I think, though.
But hers is just like natural.
She's a natural prodigy. Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's the difference. I really like the dynamic of all the siblings in the show. The dad, I can't remember what the dad's quirk was. I can't remember, but I just remember.
His face.
Everyone, he had a quirk,
I mean, he didn't have magic.
Did he not?
No, because he lost his magic.
Oh, yeah.
He lost the family wizard. He used to be the family wizard, and then he lost it because he married a human, a non-wizard.
Okay, right.
And when you marry a non-wizard, then it ended up going to like his younger brother. So it was like an episode where his brother took over, and like his brother's mediocre. I would consider him like Max. Where it's like he was like mediocre, but like he was given all the power of the family, so then he's like the family wizard.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember the episode where he showed up for like an episode or two and he was doing stuff.
I remember enjoying the dad. I remember the dad being funny.
Yeah, I just like that's the thing. I was like, what is his quirk? I remember enjoying him, but
I think his quirk is just like he doesn't have magic,
but he
knew everything about magic. He just doesn't have any magic. He was like teaching them, and like they would do something like the freezer. That was like the door to like the wizard place. And if like Alex like took it away, he's like, Alex, put it back.
Put the door back.
put the door back. Yeah, that was his quirk. But I remember like, just like doing like all the different movements when I was younger, like in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, like because there's movements associated with like the different spells. So like there was one, I don't remember exactly what the movement was, but it was like it was the one where Alex can like revert time. So she could like it's like 5 seconds or whatever. And she's like
I don't remember.
I don't remember that. I don't remember anything the Macarena.
That's basically what it was. But whatever like the thing was, I just remember like just doing it and I was like, I'm like reverting time too. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was vibing with it.
I thought there was like always like how they do in Harry Potter, where they say
Yeah,
something
it was
and
just words.
I thought
I'm pretty sure there was a somatic portion too.
Maybe.
I mean, I could be completely wrong.
I don't.
I remember specifically that one spell where she reverts time. I was like, oh yeah, I'm like reverting. I'm with her. You know, I'm getting it. Yeah, reverting time as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I just remember enjoying like every episode of Wizard Waverly Place. It was always a guaranteed like whatever else was on. I put on Wizard Waverly Place. I was like, whatever Cartoon Network.
It had to be some tough competition for me to not put it on.
Yeah.
Like it had to be like, I don't even know what was airing around the same time really, but.
I mean, like Phineas and Ferb was on there. Adventure Time would be
barely
like middle season.
In its infancy stages.
Yeah, it's in its infancy stages when it started. So it's like it depends.
There
on
wasn't much that I was gonna like turn off for that.
No, it's a show.
And if there was something that I would turn off, which I don't think there would be, it would be like after, which is it would like this. It would still be on Disney Channel, so it's like it would go on after this would be on, you know. So.
Yeah, that's all the younger shows I have. Now we're gonna get into the more mature, if you will.
Yeah, I thought about putting younger shows. I was like, do these really define me? I was thinking about it, but
I mean, I think they do. They define my childhood.
I have a couple.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a
They
couple.
define your childhood. Yeah.
I wasn't like young watching like Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I wasn't like
Burn.
All right. Well, speaking of Breaking Bad, my next show is Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul.
Yeah. I mean, I watched Breaking Bad like this year, I believe. I want to say because
I think it was last year.
Was it last year? No,
because I watched Breaking Bad in like March this year.
Yeah, but I also watched Better Call Saul this year, and I don't think I would have watched Breaking Bad last year and then watched Better Call Saul this year. I think they were like the same time span. So I want to say I thought you watched
Better Call Saul because the last season was airing this year.
Yeah, but like I also had just finished.
No, I don't know. I thought you watched it before. I know Eddie has watched it before.
Yeah, Eddie would know because we watched Better Call Saul together and Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
But I watched Breaking Bad this year, and the other reason I watched it because like I remember it was like the most popular show at the time that I hadn't seen.
Yeah.
It was like that and Game of Thrones. It was like the two like huge shows I was like I haven't seen yet. And I was like, I'll watch it eventually. It's just one of those things where like I'll watch eventually, and like a whole bunch of people around me have already seen it before. Like in school, everyone always talked about like, oh, I'll watch Breaking Bad. And my dad loved Breaking Bad and all that. I was like, I'll watch it eventually. And then I remember, I think you guys were here. It was like one day we're on Netflix. I was like, all right, random, whatever it picks on, we watch. And you're like, click Breaking Bad. They're like, that's crazy. I'm not gonna watch it though. I
don't think I was.
And like I did it again in my room. And it was like Breaking Bad, and I was like, it's a sign. Yeah, it's a sign. I thought it's a sign. I'm watching it. So then I finally watched it, and I was like, this is pretty good. I liked Breaking Bad. It was pretty good, and I was like, Saul is this really good character in Breaking Bad.
Well, see,
like
Saul was my favorite character in Breaking Bad. Because like you and I talked, like I liked Walter, but him and like Skylar and all that, they just all got on my nerves. Like there was always something that just like ticked me off about them. I guess like Jesse probably like my favorite, other than Saul. Jesse be my favorite character. Like towards the end of the show,
I hated Jesse.
I liked Jesse towards the end, but it was just like. They always got on my nerves, but Saul was like the one guy that like no matter what he did, I'm smiling, like I'm cheesing hard. Like
Saul had the perfect charisma. Exactly. He was just every time he stepped, that's kind of like this about to be some goat stuff right here.
Like Walter's like, you need to do this. I can't. Saul, here's $100,000. He's like, let me see what I can do.
I'm like, let's get it, bro.
I see all the memes on TikTok about him, and like there was like a him and like, his quotes, and it's so good. Yeah. It's so fire.
That's why I love Better Call Saul. Is he's like you got so much into because because Better Call Saul is technically a prequel to Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
So it's like you got all the stuff leading up to Breaking Bad. And you can see like all the little things that lead, like this does this in Breaking Bad, and this does this, and this leads to this, and like, all those little things over time.
Yeah.
And you saw progression of Saul. That's why like. I really want to watch season 6, but I watched Better Call Saul with my parents.
So you gotta wait
and they don't want to like watch it on a pirate site. They want to watch it on Netflix. I'm like, fuck. So I have to wait for it to be on Netflix before I can watch the final season. Because I've been like fiending for it ever since like summer.
Yeah. Well, so then getting into it, after watching Breaking Bad, I already loved Saul, and then Eddie was like, yeah, we can watch Better Call Saul because at the time season was airing, and he was like, if you catch up, we can like watch the episodes weekly on AMC's website or whatever. And I was like, all right, easy money. So I caught up with Better Call Saul. I like binged that in like weeks because it was good. Like I didn't think I would finish it so quickly.
It's so enjoyable.
Like, you get hooked onto it, and I was like, this is just great. And I love lawyer shows. Like lawyer shows are so
if they're done right.
Yeah, they are.
Some of them aren't, but if they are done right, it's so good.
Yeah, don't be like, oh, Gabe like She-Hulk. No, but like
yeah, attorney at law. Let's go.
I don't know when she was twerking with Megan Thee Stallion. I'm just saying.
I wouldn't even consider that a lawyer show, really. There's like
it's a show with lawyers. It's a show with lawyers in it.
Yeah, it's a show with lawyers.
There's not going to be lawyers.
It just so happens.
It's like a lawyer show in the same way you call The Office an office show. It's like
Yeah,
that's
I
the
guess.
background.
I mean, that kind of is a driving.
Is The Office not a comedy show?
It's a comedy show about the office.
Yeah, but like, is it mainly a comedy?
Yeah,
It's
but
like, I watched The Office for The Office. No, you watch it for the comedy.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's
It's
like
like-
you can get debates of like the office is like the cast, and you like the cast, so you watch it for the cast.
Yeah,
and
some of the
interaction.
jokes involve them being
involve the
in the
office,
office.
but making sales.
It's the same thing with
That's
She-Hulk, right?
semantics.
Okay,
No.
we're getting.
Oh no, I didn't like how you brought Shield and then my goat. I'm like, don't do that. Stop.
We're getting off topic here. Point is, I love lawyer shows, and Better Call Saul just scratched the edge for me perfectly. I was like, oh yeah, this
It's
is
so
great.
good.
I love watching just like cases being handled just really like it's like one of the shows I just now remembered. I definitely could have put in a list. I think I won't put it in my list, but like I'll give an honorable mention. It just reminds me of one of the old shows I used to watch with my mom, and like I love watching court scenes when they're done really well because just I love debating. I was in the debate team and all that. And a courtroom is a big debate, right? So you just got to see it unfold there. And then the characters in Better Call Saul are just great. Vince Gilligan does a really good job writing all his characters.
Yeah.
And then you get to see, if you've already seen Breaking Bad, which you probably should before watching Better Call Saul, you get to see a lot of tie-ins, like, oh, that's why this happened in there. Because I think if you watch it in reverse, even though it is a prequel, you don't fully understand a lot of things.
And there's like the snippets at the beginning of each episode.
Yeah,
that's
that
like
too.
it's from the future, which is after Breaking
Bad,
Bad.
yeah.
So it's like his life after
wouldn't even
Breaking
get
Bad.
it.
So you'd be like, why is Saul working at a Cinnabon? This doesn't fucking make sense. And it's
Yeah.
like if you watched Breaking Bad, you would understand why he's working in a Cinnabon.
Right.
Yeah.
But I love the stuff like I think in season 1 is where he first met Tuco. And then he got him with like the cartel and stuff like that. So it's like that leads into
everything just ties
exactly.
in. Like, that's
and then if you think about like season 1 where Walter and Jesse meet Saul, he's like, I know a guy. He takes him to Tuco.
exactly.
So it's like everything just ties together.
well, he doesn't take him to Tuco, but
Does he?
no, because Jesse used to cook with Tuco's cousin.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah, Tuco isn't from Saul. Saul just happens to also know Tuco.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I just think the cast is great. Obviously Gus, like
Yeah,
Giancarlo
just seeing all
Esposito
his
kills it
stuff.
every time.
Oh my God.
He's like one of the best villains. Like every time I see him cast in a show, I'm like, it's gonna be goated.
Yeah, he's such a good actor.
I kept waiting. I was like, man, when's Gus gonna show up? When's Gus? It's like season 3, and I was like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I was like, oh,
I'm
where's
feeding
Gus?
for Gus.
I always see the memes like,
need
hi, I'm Gus.
Because like in Breaking Bad, like Gus is like the antagonist of the later seasons, but he's not shown nearly as much as he is in Better Call Saul. He's like a
Really?
main character in Better Call Saul.
Okay,
Like,
interesting.
obviously, like we were saying, he doesn't show up till like season 3, but when he does show up, he is a main character. He is
Yeah,
there for
okay.
like a lot of scenes.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Like it's once he finally does show up, because then there's so much stuff that happens that ties back to him.
Exactly, and you get to see a lot of his backstory. You get to see a lot of his motivations. Oh, this is why this happened. This is how this was made for this in Breaking Bad.
This is how he set him up and everything like that.
Gus,
Yeah, like Gus is just great, and I love Giancarlo Esposito, and mainly because of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul is why I like really like started liking Giancarlo Esposito way more. Because like I saw him in Far Cry 6 as well, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. He's pretty charismatic and all that. Then like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, I was like, yeah, this guy's just kind of goaty.
Well, I think it's funny because like, I guess I knew of him like vaguely, but I didn't like know him before Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. But it's like after watching those, I see him in a lot more like not even just like him getting roles now. Like for my film class, I watched a movie from 1989 and he was in that movie. I was like, what the fuck? Fucking Gus. Why is Gus like having a boombox just like jamming? I was like, what?
Yeah, he's
How
a
does
really
this
good
affect
actor.
El Pollo Loco or Pollo Hermanos?
Yeah, and then I was watching Harley Quinn, and I was like, Gus is Lex Luthor. It's perfect. And, like I never in my mind, I never would have thought it. I was like, it works. He is just a good Lex Luthor. And he sells me every time. He was also in Cyberpunk too.
Yeah.
You saw Edge Runners, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, Gus, I like this.
He was in The Boys.
Anime.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
It's
in
like-
The Boys, the main villain in
Yeah,
The Boys.
he's good.
He's just good.
He's
He's
just
everything he's in.
He's a good antagonist. He just you want to like root for him.
Mandalorian.
That's why I wanted him to be Doctor Doom, but he probably won't be Doctor Doom.
He would be.
As long as he is a villain, like a lot of people are saying he's gonna be Professor X. That's like the rumor. I don't want him to be a hero. I want him to be a villain.
He's such a good antagonist, though. He's such a good
villain.
antagonist.
I don't want you to be nice.
And as a character, as charismatic and like someone like you see, like you want to root for as Doctor Doom, I think he would just fit well for someone like Gus.
And Marvel likes blackwashing anyways. You know, he's not like black.
Yeah,
like,
true, they do.
He's dark skinned. Good. Give you representation. Make him Doctor Doom.
Come on, man. It's too easy.
Funny enough, like I had you hear a complaint, like his Spanish is awful. That's right.
Yeah, it is.
It's god atrocious.
Doesn't he not actually know Spanish? He had to feed him lines.
No. He just reads the script and says what he's.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they basically had to like give him, tell him how to say it and stuff like that.
That's what I hear. I heard Spanish speakers had a hard time watching it.
Yeah, that's why they were like one of the complaints about Better Call Saul is like, stop making him speak Spanish. Just make him speak English and we'll be fine with it.
Yeah, but my immersion. He's in Mexico. Speaking of the cartel. He has to speak Spanish.
I never had a problem with it because I don't speak Spanish, so I don't catch it as much. But like, I can see why.
That would just remind me of like anime stuff where it's like they're speaking Japanese, but it's like, wow, his English is so good, and it's like, but
is it?
It sounds like he's speaking Japanese to me. You know, like Vinland Saga, where it's like they're speaking like 9 different languages, but they're all speaking Japanese.
Or so it's like The Great Pretender.
I haven't seen Great Pretender.
Great Pretender actually does translate everything.
I know, but the English still isn't good.
No, it is. If you watch it in dub, it is.
I can't remember which version I watched. I remember watching a version. Like, what is this?
Because the thing is with The Great Pretender is if you watch it in dub, the first like 2 minutes or something is regular like sub, and like it's broken English, and then after the 2-minute mark, they give you like disclaimer like, all right, now back to your regular scheduled program, and it's like regular English, and then they switch to Spanish, and whatever country they go to, they switch to that language, and they have a new voice actor for that. I'm like. It's really good. I think it's one of the best animes or shows I've seen that does that. Yeah. Because like it's an anime show. You can just get voice actors. You don't need to have one person learn all these languages. You get a bunch of different people to do voices.
That's why I thought like Vinland Saga is really good because when they all have the meeting and there's like 6 different countries represented, but they all speak 6 different languages. Like they'll all be speaking. If you're watching it dub, they're all speaking English with like no accents, and if you're watching it in sub, they're all speaking Japanese with obviously no accents. And it's like, oh yeah, it's like, do y'all speak Dutch? No, I don't know what he's saying, but it's all Japanese, and it's like, I understand. I can take myself out of it, but it's like my immersion, it's broken.
Stuff like that is weird. Like in like JoJo's Part 5, where like sometimes they speak like Italian and like they're supposed to be Italian speaking Italian, but they're speaking Japanese. Sometimes it is a little.
Yeah, you kind of like you take it with like take it as is, kind of, but it's just that just kind of reminded me of that. Like we would speak English and like be like, hello guys, what's up, cartel? And they're like speaking Spanish to him.
Yeah, they speak Spanish back to him.
And he just like knows, like, says it in English. Like it's just, I don't know, it's weird, you know.
But yeah, and Giancarlo Esposito, I also met him in person not too long ago. I had a picture with him. That's good. Andrew, do not throw it up because I don't care. But, all right, next one we've got. I think I've only gone through like 4.
Yeah.
All right, we got I already said Community, said that. We got Daredevil. This is he's my representative for the superhero genre, if you will, right? Daredevil is kind of like my goat when it comes to Marvel, because like they have everything the MCU has done to this point. There's still some good stuff I like. Like I like the Black Panther, I like Infinity War and all, like Winter Soldier. But like nothing has quite done it for me in Marvel like Daredevil has done it for me, because it just feels like a show where they weren't worried about like, oh, we got to make everything tie in here. We got to make sure we're pushing towards this big storyline. Daredevil is just a self-contained story where it's just like, I'm just going to have a show about this lawyer guy who's blind. And Daredevil in the comics is already a really good character I love. So it's already really good. And season 1 starts with just building up Kingpin's character, Fisk. It's just really good. Season 2 is where the Punisher gets introduced. Really good stuff there. The whole dynamic with Punisher and Daredevil. Has anyone here seen Daredevil yet?
No, I want to watch it so badly. I can't push myself to watch it.
I took it off Netflix and I don't have Disney Plus, so it's like
I will watch it. Like that's something on my list. Like I'm going to watch it, just like Breaking Bad. Like I'm going to watch it. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of when,
not if. Yeah.
Daredevil is just so good. I feel like every Marvel fan just has to watch Daredevil. It's like in my opinion, it is the best thing Marvel has put out, like live action wise. It's phenomenal. Obviously, I've told you how I feel about lawyer shows. I love lawyer shows, and there's some. It's not necessarily a lawyer show because it's still called Daredevil, but there are some scenes in there where I'm like, yeah, it makes sense that when they're in the court of law, it's done right. Not like She-Hulk, where it's just like jibber jabber. Like when Matt Murdock was in Daredevil, him in that court scene was trash, low key, like compared to what he is like in the show. I'm like, yeah, this is just better. Like the court. I don't know what it's called. Court jargon, is that what it is, or like
terminology?
I think it is just called jargon.
Yeah, like the way they speak in Daredevil just feels more like fluid and more like real than like She-Hulk just felt like
they're just throwing words.
Yeah, it was just like, oh yeah, throw this out there. So there's that, and I think it's just there's a real aspect to Daredevil. It really shows how human these characters. Because Daredevil in the show, he doesn't do all the flips and acrobatic stuff he does in the comics. He's just a guy who just fights like with his hands. He's kind of because his dad was a boxer.
He's a boxer, yeah.
So he kind of is just like he is kind of acrobatic, but for the most part, he kind of just a grounded fighter.
That's more stuff like when he shows up to a fight, like he'll flip off of like a thing.
Yeah,
but then it's like he's
exactly.
on the ground fighting.
So
Yeah.
is She-Hulk like the most flippy he got? Because like I saw that, like that's kind of cool. Like it's very like reminiscent to like how he fights in the comics.
Yeah.
He's very flippy.
That's what I liked as well too. But even still, I think I said that before when we talked about She-Hulk. I did like how flippy he was because that's like what I know Daredevil was. Yeah. But even then, like in the show of Daredevil, I think it works better that he isn't like that because of how grounded the show is and just how real they try and keep it with like this is like a gritty Hell's Kitchen, New York, where everything is corrupt. Wilson Fisk owns so many people. So I really love Daredevil. If you're a fan of Marvel, I feel like you have to watch Daredevil. It's just great. One of the best things out there. And then Punisher season 1 also really good. Punisher only really works because of Daredevil, because Punisher's introduction in Daredevil is really good. The whole interaction John Bernthal has with Charlie Cox there as Matt Murdock's just really good on the rooftop, tied up, talking about like what is true justice.
Like their philosophies and all that. I think that's like
why are you letting him free? It's just good human interactions there. I think everything is good. The characters are all really well fleshed out. All the interactions make sense. I really like the relationships between Foggy, Karen, and Matt. Like all their three dynamic is just perfect. I think nothing feels like forced. Nothing like, oh, we're friends because the writers said we're friends. Like everything makes sense. Like, oh yeah, they're friends. They have like real falling outs and stuff. Like they have like real issues that I feel like a lot of shows don't do. Like I feel like sometimes shows just kind of gloss over things where it's just like, well, it was just a rough patch in our relationship. We'll get over it. Like I feel like Daredevil actually goes into like, no, this is like an issue.
It impacted it, yeah.
Yeah, it actually impacts things. Like it doesn't feel like it's just water under the bridge. Cause like that's how I feel like real life is. You don't just like move on from things. Like certain things do affect your relationship.
People hold grudges.
Like yeah, you did do something that I did not agree with. You like killed this guy when I told you not to kill, right? Like when we both agreed killing is wrong, you killed someone. Like that affects how I view you. It's not gonna be like, oh well.
That's the past.
Yeah, we live and learn. No, like I like that everything like actually matters in that show. I feel like a lot of shows don't do that, especially because I guess a lot of shows I have listed at this point are like sitcoms and comedies. But like when I do watch real drama shows, I feel like sometimes they do just forget that. Like if you watch shows like Arrow even or Flash, like they'll just kind of forget.
It'll be like 2 or 3 episodes. They're like, oh, I can't believe you did that. But then it's like, end of the day, after season, they're gonna be like perfectly fine.
Think about all this. If you've seen Arrow, think about all the things Oliver has done in like season 1 and even before. Like, when does he stop killing? Like season 3?
He doesn't usually kill. He just kills like on occasion. He kills like as like a resort, like a last resort.
Killed at all in that
it
show.
depends. Yes, he did.
In season 1,
no, I didn't know he killed at all.
He did. He did.
The whole like point
but he stopped after like mid season 3 or at the end of season 3, something like that.
Yeah, because the whole point of like an Arrow where he was like, well, whatever, it's not important.
Yeah,
but like like when stuff like that happens in Arrow, it's just like, oh yeah, he used to kill. Anyways, we're still friends, but all that didn't affect anything of how I view you.
You're a whole murderer, but you know what? It's fine.
Yeah. But like that's just one thing I really love about Daredevil. Everything matters. It seems like a more real show, and it feels like the most realistic interpretation of if superheroes, not even superheroes, really, just like if the idea of vigilantes existed, like
that's
what
how
it would be
worked,
like here. And what's his name? Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, just a perfect cast. I really love.
He did really good, yeah.
I really love how they work with each other.
They're bringing him back, right, for the MCU.
Mm-hmm. He was in Hawkeye already as Kingpin, so he's already canon. Yeah, and I'm excited for Daredevil board again. See if Marvel can pick up and make it just as good, or at least good enough.
Good enough to go, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited for. I really like Charlie Cox as Daredevil. I think he was just a really good cast.
He's a really good cast, yeah. I agree.
Now, my next show. That being said, I do have the Arrow, mainly because, for one, I was kind of out of ideas. So there's that. Wait, no. Yeah. No, wait, that's not. Okay, no, that was an honorable mention. No, Chappelle Show is my next choice here.
Oh,
okay.
Chappelle Show.
Fuck.
See, if I didn't have one other thing on my list, that would be on my list.
Agreed. I would put that on my list. Fuck, I totally forgot about the Chappelle Show.
It's been a long time since I watched it though. But
I was stuck between 2 choices here because I wanted to represent. I was like, what's gonna represent my like comedy / like it's not reality, but it's like skit comedy and just like I don't know what to call it, like just comedy show, right? There was Chappelle Show, the Key and Peele Show, which is basically Chappelle Show, effectively. Yeah. Okay, and then Impractical Jokers. And those are my 3 choices there. And I was like, I think I'm gonna go Chappelle Show because Dave Chappelle's kind of my go. Like I love Dave Chappelle. Chappelle Show just has so many iconic moments like the crackhead and stuff.
Yeah, peanut butter and crack sandwich.
It's just so good. You got like there's so many memes from it. he was at Walmart and I can't remember the Walmart. I remember there was one with like he was the president and he was just like every time something happened he was like leave. he like swiped everything off the table and ran. There's the Rick James thing from there. Rick James. There's so many good moments from. There's also that one wife swap episode I remember where like he swapped with like a white family and he was the black dad in the white family and he was like. One of the son from what was like, I really like 50 Cent. I'm with GU and he was get in the car real quick. He like dropped off the hood. He was like, here you go, here's your stop. You said you like 50 Cent, right? He's like, I don't like it. He's like, get your ass out the car. I was like, it was so good. Yeah. And then he went, just the Chappelle Show was really good. I don't want to talk too much about it because it was a while ago since I've seen it, so I don't remember a lot of specific episodes.
It's been a good 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. Like
didn't they bring it?
It's on Netflix now.
Okay, it's on Netflix. I thought they were like
actually gonna rewatch
I thought Dave Chappelle or not said, but like I thought like last year he said he was gonna bring it back or something like that.
Well, I thought he lost the rights to it because it wasn't.
No, because he said something about how like he could have, but he wanted to keep it because that's his thing.
Okay.
So he could have sold it for like millions of dollars, and they would have lost the rights, but he wanted to. Am I tweaking?
I can't remember. I thought
something like that.
I have no idea.
I remember it was a rights issue. I can't remember like if he lost the rights or like he could have sold it.
He could have sold it for like a lot, like millions and millions of dollars, but he's like, no, that's mine. I want to keep
for
that.
A reason. I thought there was like a reason why he stopped.
Comedy Central dropped him.
Yeah, okay, that's what it was. Yeah, they dropped.
Yeah,
him.
because that was like I think that's the first time that like they wanted to buy the rights to the show because like his comedy was like too raunchy and too edgy.
Yeah.
So then he was like, no, I'm just gonna do my own thing. And then there was someone else that tried to buy it. I'm pretty sure, like recently, and he's like, "No, this is my show. Like, I'm gonna keep my show."
I think I remember him saying like that they gave his show basically to Key and Peele because like they're on Comedy Central as well, and they kind of do the same thing. Similar.
Yeah, but there's just like they can be more family friendly at times. Yeah. So it's like they want to keep it that way.
Yeah. And Key and Peele is pretty iconic too.
Key and Peele is iconic. They also would have been on the list, but there's someone else I had to put like in my opinion, not my opinion, but like better.
I didn't even think about putting Key and Peele on my list because like I remember watching him on YouTube a lot. So like
you didn't even know there was a show.
No, like it was like it actually in my brain that was a show. Like.
Well, see, I watched him all the time.
That's probably a show, but I didn't think of it because all my memories is from watching it on YouTube.
See, I watched them all the time on YouTube when I was younger, and then I realized they were a show. I think it was like halfway through high school, and then I would watch them on TV. So like that's why I wouldn't like I watched them
on TV.
Yeah, well,
they're on Comedy Central.
It's because
I know they are.
No, it's because Comedy Central is like oversaturated with like South Park episode reruns. All they do is play South Park nowadays.
They do, yeah.
Like South Park.
That's the cash cow though.
That's the cash cow. Yeah, it's the same thing like MTV and like Ridiculous. That's kind of like a different situation technically. Because the way Rob did it, but it's like that's their cash cow for Comedy Central. But I consider like I watched it. If you watch the YouTube are just clips from the show, so I consider like you watch the show.
Yeah, like I've seen. Yeah, I've seen everything.
I've seen just about.
I've
seen almost everything. Like I'm sure there's a couple that you can name that I probably haven't seen, but like I've seen for the most part, like almost all their skits.
Like if you name a skit, like I know exactly what skit it is. I've seen so many of it.
Yeah, I don't know like the names of skits, but I know like the things. What?
For the Thanksgiving game, I saw there was a commercial with what's it? Is it Key?
Keegan Michael Key?
Yeah, Keegan.
You talking like the substitute teacher?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, they playing Key and Peele's skits.
They brought him back. And then Bumblebee was there. I was like, this is great. This is great marketing.
You truly guys are good.
I saw it yesterday during the Cowboys game. I was like, what is this?
The game. Yeah,
I was like, what? What is this?
Yeah,
I mean, because I love Key and Peele so much, and also let Dave Chappelle, I think it just kind of goes into one. Dave Chappelle just molded the way for Key and Peele to do what they did.
He walked
so they could run.
He ran so they could.
Yeah, I was gonna.
You know, like they have
actually, you think about it like a 4x1. He actually like sprinted so that they can not sprint and just carry it from the right, like the anchor.
I guess
like dead sprinted and they just regular sprinted.
Yeah, he was like he carried, and then they like. Have some time.
I was like, what's it like? They both have like two different ways like they go about comedy, but he's still like kind of like.
That's why I think that's
he
why
still paved the way.
Yeah, I think that's why Comedy Central kind of went with them because like they're kind of are like more adult humor, but they do have times where they could be more family friendly.
Yeah.
And Dave Chappelle was like,
no, he
never family.
He never held.
Dave Chappelle did his own thing, and that's why I love Dave Chappelle. Even watching like his newer comedy specials, like his specials and stuff like that, it's literally just him not giving a fuck, and that's why I love Dave Chappelle because he will not give in. And that's why I love him so much.
It's just because of the way.
That's why he's one of my goats for comedy.
He was just like raised differently, I think, than Key and Peele were. Like he was raised in like he not a bad neighborhood necessarily, but he was around people to where he knew like the dark side of like racism in America. And I think he's a bit older than Key and Peele are. I think they're like 40, he's 50.
I think so.
It's not that big
he's
of
like
an
in
age
his
skip.
50s, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's big enough to where I think it changes a little bit of their perspectives.
Yeah. I do remember like the one joke he said. People like think like I'm a gangster and I grew around gangsters and like I didn't do that. Like
yeah, he was in a white. He said he did just well enough to where he was with the whites, but he wasn't like as rich as the whites.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like he was not like he was in the hood, but like he knew
he saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was able to see the things. He was like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna talk about. And this is what I'm gonna do, and all that. So yeah, Dave Chappelle there. He's my comedy representative, basically.
Yeah.
It's a good choice. Really good choice.
Yeah.
Low-key a sleeper pick.
I really wish I had either one of those on my list.
Yeah, low-key a sleeper pick. Yeah.
Not even sleeper. Like I literally, because remember last night I asked you this, where I was like, would you consider shows that like didn't have a plot as like shows?
And I said, yeah.
And you said,
that's why I put.
It's because I was gonna put Dave Chappelle on my list, and I was like,
okay.
But this one fits me. I'll get to it later, but it fit me more.
Is it like a no plot show?
It's a no plot show.
All right.
Because it's like different. I'll explain it later.
Now my goat. If you've watched on the podcast, you already know what my goat is. We talked about it all the time. Me and Eduardo both have the same goat here. It's How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
It's the goat.
Yeah.
Ever since my brother put me on this show when I was like really young. It was like before the show even ended. Like I think it was, I want to say it was before I was in Texas. So it was at least I want to say before 2010. It was like when they were around season 7-ish. So it may have been 2008 or something.
Okay.
But I remember when I was put on the show, I was like, this show is just great. I mean, I was really young, so I probably shouldn't be watching this show because, like, it's not technically like a rated M or rated R show, right? It's still, I think it is technically rated
mature
like
content.
TV 14 or something.
Yeah, it's mature
but, like,
content.
it's definitely not made for kids to watch it, right? So, like, it probably wasn't supposed to be watching it that young.
Women,
then again, though, if you look at it, like, through a kid's eyes, a lot of jokes will just go over your head.
Exactly.
And there are some jokes where, like, you trip and fall on some poop, and they're like...
And at the end of the day, the premise of How I Met Your Mother is he's telling his kids the show.
Telling his kids how I met
in a
your
way,
mother.
it is supposed to be for kids, in a way.
In a roundabout way, yeah.
Yeah, which is like the joke at the end of the show where the kids are like, you know how much you told us about how much you've had sex, how much you've been drinking with your friends? You're talking this to your kids about these? Like, yeah.
That's how I met your mother.
And there's also like a joke in like the middle of the season where he's like, he was talking to one of his, he was talking to someone like in the, cause like the way How I Met Your Mother works, it's a flashback in a sense because Bob Saget is older Ted telling his kids the story, and younger Ted in this story is like talking to someone, and he's like, come on, I'm not gonna tell this story to my kids. You think I'm gonna tell my kids about how Barney had a perfect week and slept with 7 different women in 7 weeks, and it cuts to the kids and like.
That's where you draw the line.
So is Barney the one?
But he does though. He does say it. That's the thing. That's the joke.
It's funny. It's like that's where you draw the line. All the things that happen. That's where you draw the line.
Is Barney the one that picks up all the women?
Yeah.
The house. Like,
Barney's the Rizzler. That's what I was like.
He's the actual Rizzler.
He like in his house and like.
Yeah.
He has like a whole wall that's a TV.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's called The Wall.
The Wall.
Because like he had a girl over and he turned on and was like.
Because like when you first learn about The Wall, Lily like comes over because it was at the time where Lily had I don't want to spoil too much of the show because I want Deven to watch it and I want other people to watch it as well. So without going into spoilers, there's like Lily was going over to Barney's house for a reason, and then she was over there. She's like, oh, it just sucks that you don't have a TV. He's like, what do you mean? Look at that. She's like, what, The Wall? It's like, and it turns on. She's like, oh my god.
I seen so many clips for him, just him alone that made me like, oh, this show does look kind of funny. His character alone,
it is funny.
His character alone looks pretty cool.
And I think it also delves into a little bit what we were talking about with Drake and Josh, where it's that old humor because it's like 2005. It's like a lot of the stuff in Office is what I'm thinking, not Drake and Josh, Office.
Yeah.
What you're saying with the Office humor, where it's like it's stuff that they can say then that they wouldn't necessarily say now. It's not like it's not acceptable to say it because I think a lot of what they do is fine, but I just think it's stuff that shows wouldn't think about doing nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I think that would be a part of the reason if you like that about The Office, I think you'd also like that about How I Met Your Mother.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of jokes like that just I don't think with like there's the tranny jokes aren't even that funny anyways, but like it was a thing that they would never do anymore, obviously.
No.
Right.
There's like one scene I remember where like I can't remember what the premise of it was, but Ted was like he was talking about like how like it was talking about like top 5 scenarios that'd be weird to happen if I walked in the bathroom. And like he was just peeing, and then some girl walks in. She's like, "Sup, bruh?" And she's in the urinal, and he's like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
But yeah, like Barney's the Rizzler, yeah.
Yeah, he's the Rizzler.
Well, like one thing I also like about How I Met Your Mother is the little details that they do here and there. So like, there's one episode where it was like a time lapse of like them talking at the table at the bar. And if you watch the background, there's a couple that they meet, they get together, they get married, they have a kid, they grow old, they die. The kids there have the funeral, and they're still sitting there talking about whatever they were talking about to like show that they were talking about this for so long. Like these people had their whole lives in the background of this bar. It's just little things like that with How I Met Your Mother is. It makes the rewatching. You always notice something that you never noticed before.
And this is like
the rewatchability is insane with that show.
I've also talked about this before, where like I rewatch How I Met Your Mother every year. It's literally an annual tradition for me. I rewatch it every year, and the more you watch it, me and Eduardo also like watch a bunch of clips on YouTube and too. There's so many little things that you will just miss because the storytelling of How I Met Your Mother. There's so many little foreshadowing things where it's like, oh yeah, that did happen. Like there's a I don't want to say too much, but like there's a moment very early, it's like season 1 where they tease something about the mother, and I'm just like, I never caught that until like I saw a YouTube video. I'm like, oh yeah, that was like in reference to the mother, and you would have known this so early on, but you didn't think you knew it until you finished the season, and then someone else pointed out to you or something. There's just so many small details. There's just like upon rewatch, you gather way more appreciation for it. It's like, oh yeah, that thing, and then this, and then. The foreshadowing is just great. I think the foreshadowing in How I Met Your Mother is what people think One Piece's foreshadowing is.
Yeah.
And like, there's just so many moments where I'm like, oh yeah, that works because of this. And then like, there's so many points in the story where Ted, like older Ted, will just be like, oh, and then this happens. But we'll get to that. And it's not like a thing where he says we'll get to that and he never does. He does actually eventually get to it. And it's always like. Works perfect. No, you're good.
I also think it's funny, like where he'll say something. It's like, oh wait, is that what happened or did this happen? And they're like, and they play it differently.
Oh, that's so cool.
He's like, no, it definitely was this. It's like, and it plays it like from that point.
That's cool.
And it's like, did Barney say this or did Lily say this? And it's like just things like that. Like it's funny, or like the whole like Eduardo was talking about the colors. Like the colors mean like
colors mean things decision. Like yellow
is like leading to the mom, and then purple's like leading away, or like yellow's good and purple's bad or something like that.
Yeah, I remember seeing a whole video like colors
because like she had like the yellow umbrella, so like that was like. That's her, and it's just things like that.
That's so cool. Yeah, I knew.
There's just so many little details that like, if you pay attention and like you rewatch it, you can get. It's a new experience every time.
Yeah, How I Met Your Mother is a show like I know nothing about. The only thing I know is like the links that Barney would go to get a girl, and it's so funny.
Oh yeah,
the links he would go like when he like.
No, you get it.
Like when he like convinced the girl like he was like a time traveler.
Yes, yeah. When he was an old man and he's like. Are you? And said her name, and she's like, yes. She's like, okay, look, I am a time traveler, and he's like, I'm gonna come here in 5 minutes, and you have to have sex with me to save the world because of global warming or something like that.
Or he had like a bet to touch his like this girl's boobs.
So, like, Lily, yeah.
So he did like all this.
Barney is like he's like galaxy brain guy. So what they're talking about here is like the playbook. This is what Barney, like in the show, it's like an actual like Bible. It's like
it's the Conorium.
It's sacred.
Yeah, and like it's the whole bunch of his ruses he used to get girls. Like they're talking about the time travel.
He like Ted, and like he'll say something like they have to like do that thing at the play.
I was like reading some of these with the Jose, and I like how one of them is like called the president, and it's like because he gives you percentages for the chances of him succeeding. And it was like 0.00001 for the president. I was like, oh, I don't know what it is, and it was like a slowly step-by-step process of becoming the president of the United States. And it was like, and now that you're the president of the United States, she can't say no.
That's so
I was like, that's crazy.
That's so funny.
And then one of them is called like the hot guy. It was just like be hot.
Yeah, see, I remember Jose was in Discord. I heard you like in the background talking about like, yo, somebody sound like sex positions.
Yeah,
I was like, bro, what the fuck y'all on about?
Dude, okay, talk about like Barney's Galaxy Brain plays, like the scuba diver. I mean, you've seen a little bit of How I Met Your Mother, right?
I've seen all of it like 4 times.
Oh,
it's just like, but we talked about this one episode where it's like, I watched it all 4 years in high school, but it's been like a long time, and I've watched a lot of stuff in between. So it's like, I know like the whole like general plot, and I know like specifics like the time traveler.
Yeah,
there's little things like that, like the people in the background or like the colors. So it's like I remember, but not like very very specifics. I'm gonna rewatch it probably in December.
The scuba diver, I think, is like an early scene, an early-ish of How I Met Your Mother. Just encapsulates a part of like why Barney is such a, even though he's such a horrible person in the show, and they always make sure to tell you like Barney's not a good person. They don't try.
He himself says he's not a good person sometimes.
Yeah, they don't. I like that's what the show doesn't try to make it seem like what his lifestyle is good.
It's the right choice. Yeah,
because like. I think the whole like show of How I Met Your Mother is still a lesson. There's so many good, valuable life lessons you can learn in How I Met Your Mother. Because Ted's teaching his kids this story. He's trying to teach them a whole bunch of stuff. It goes through a whole bunch of life lessons, like smoking. Like you're talking about Boy Meets World. he talks about smoking and how it negatively impacted their life, and how breakups can affect you, and how even though some certain things might happen in your life that are bad, it can push you to a right point in your life.
One door closes, one opens type.
Yeah, he's like, even though this was a bad point in my life, if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't have gone this, and this is what led me to your mother and stuff.
Yeah.
Something like that. So like they don't ever try to play like Barney's a good person, but he's always entertaining. He might not be a good person, but he's very entertaining.
Legendary.
And then there's just like a scene where like the scuba driver, I think, perfectly encapsulates how like the lengths Barney will go, not to just get a woman, it's just to like be right and like to win. He wants to win more than like anyone in anything. That's why like if like they'll like randomly say something in the episode, but like, oh, it's like stupid. You could never like get these overalls and get laid. He's like, challenge accepted.
What was the thing with the marathon?
The marathon, because Marshall broke his leg. Marshall was gonna run a marathon. Yeah. He broke his leg, and he was like,
"He's not gonna run a marathon."
Yeah, Barney was like, "Why are you training to run a marathon? You just run. You don't train. You just run." And Marshall's like, "If you think you can just get out of bread and run a marathon, go do it." He's like, "All right."
And then he did.
And he did.
And then he was on the train, and he was like, "I can't move."
He couldn't move his legs.
But he did it.
He just ran a marathon.
Did do it though.
He just woke up and ran a marathon.
Yeah, he's the type of character I would love just to watch.
Barney's so fun in his suits.
So
like
great.
Ted, suit up.
He's the reason I'm like low-key like I should wear some suits maybe. I don't think I could quite pull it off though, but
I think it's funny too. Like, I think in season 1, because Barney has the playbook. And he's it's not season 1, maybe season 2. But he's like, Ted, memorize the playbook. So if I ever need you to use it with me, you can use it. And he'll like later on he'll say something. It's like, do this play. And Ted's like, I don't even know what that is. He's like, I told you, Ted, memorize the playbook.
That's so many good scenes.
It's just How I Met Your Mother is amazing. I just wish like I wish I knew like I wish I was as into it as like you and Eduardo, because like I'm into it and I love it, but there's like other shows that I kind of would put like just my taste put over it. Enjoyment factor, it is one of the most enjoying shows I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, honestly
like,
for me it is.
But it's just there's other shows that like define me more than How I Met Your Mother.
Right.
And How I Met Your Mother, just a show that really just stuck with me forever because of so many moments. I love the whole cast. Everything about the show is just really entertaining to me. It has good rewatchability, like I talked about the foreshadowing. And yeah, it just always be my go. I think I've talked about it so much on the podcast in general that I don't need to talk too much about it here. You kind of heard me and Eduardo gush about it a lot anyways, so
yeah,
stuff to be said there. Yeah. Obviously I have these both books, the Bro Code and the Playbook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, that's your list.
Pretty good list.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, I mean, it was pretty much the rest of my list. I mean, my honorable mention would have been like Impractical Jokers, Key and Peele couldn't be up there. More kid shows. I could maybe put Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was really good as well.
I thought about putting that on my list.
And I think that's pretty much it. I mean, iCarly, yeah, it's pretty iconic as well for me. That's all I can think of for honorable mentions. Arrow, I did say earlier, was an honorable mention as well.
Yeah, I think in that same vein, like Flash, they're pretty good as well.
For me, I didn't really enjoy Flash as much as I enjoyed Arrow because Flash always felt annoying because like I felt like everything was manufactured and it didn't feel like real conflict. Cause I'm like, there's so many scenes.
You know, at the end of the day, he'd be fine.
Well, no, not that. It's just more like there's so many scenes where like where like in the Flash, someone will turn a corner and Flash runs there and they're gone. I'm like, how? How are they gone? You're the Flash. They didn't outrun you.
Yeah, they'll be like here to that door and they'll turn a corner and he'll like instantly be there and he's like,
I've heard the
they're gone.
I'm like, how?
Or it's like they're in Star Labs. And like he gets pushed down to turn a corner. He's like, I searched all of the city. They're not here. It's like maybe they're still in Star Labs in the fucking elevator because it's taking them a minute, okay? Like
I searched the entire city.
But they're not here anymore.
Like there's like an iconic scene where like with Killer Frost.
Killer Frost, yeah.
She turns the corner. He runs out and he like searches the whole lab. She's gone. I'm like, how? Where'd she go?
Oh, we saw like
yeah, she's opening
Kamali.
Yeah,
she's like, we'll see you next time, Flash.
There's so many issues. I think there's so many issues with Flash I had that I don't think I can put it up. There's so many inconsistencies where I think Arrow didn't have that issue as much. So I put Arrow above it.
All right, well, to kind of get rid of the reruns, I had Better Call Saul as well. That's one of those I watched this year, and I pretty much instantly fell in love with. I watched Breaking Bad in like March, and I watched Better Call Saul March in like the first part of summer. And then I watched Better Call Saul throughout summer, and it's a show that I pretty much instantly fell in love with. As I said earlier, Saul was one of my favorite characters on Breaking Bad, and just seeing him go through like his life, not only like after with the scenes at the beginning of the episodes, but also before and going through all that. It was really cool leading up to it. And I do like Laurie shows and I like debates and stuff like that. And he's an interesting feller. I will say that much. And then I also had Wizards of Waverly Place. I was like teetering between. I was teetering between. I was teetering between Wizards of Waverly Place and Arrow. And I told you before. No, because like they kind of like hold different places in my heart. And the way I made this list, it's not formatted like really on eras of my life or arcs of my life. Like it's they kind of have their own spot in my life where they didn't dominate everything, but they were like my number one at that time, right? And they were different time periods, obviously. But as I told you before, the episode with Arrow is I loved seasons like 1 through 4, and like 5 was like but like it got bad towards the end. Same thing with the Flash. Like I loved 1 through 3. And then 4 was like okay, and then 5 just got kind of like tedious, right? It just got really bad and monotonous, and like there was no stakes and nothing really mattered, and it was just annoying. They kind of hit on tropes, and it was irritating. And that's why like I couldn't justify putting those 2 on my list because I didn't really like the show in its entirety, right? Even though I will say Arrow was a big part of my middle school. It's on with another show on this list. Those 2 were like 2 of my biggest, well I guess 3. Those 3 were like the biggest shows of my middle school and like early high school era. So like, it was hard for me not to put on this list, but I mean, Wizard of Waverly Place, it's just, we talked about it.
He's Cody.
I just love Wizard of Waverly Place. The movies are so good. I used to literally, like, I would stand in my living room on my couch doing the dance moves, like not dance moves, like the moves of like the spells. Because like, I literally did love Wizard of Waverly Place, right? That was like one of my favorite shows of that time. Okay. But I can start with like my list. Still Life of Zack and Cody. Those are the reruns. I had Still Life of Zack and Cody.
Good choice.
That was right up there with Wizard of Waverly Place because they kind of they didn't come out at the same time, but I watched them at the same time roughly. And that one was actually hard because it was hard for me to like pick between Still Life on Deck and Still Life of Zack and Cody because they're similar shows. Really? No. I actually did like Still Life on Deck had some.
Okay, I liked it too.
But like it ain't touching.
Because I was also telling you like it kind of like. It's eras, right? That's the kind of way I was formatting this list, and I was coming up with shows like to put on here. So it's like Street Life on Deck and Wizard of Waverly Place. I kind of watched at the same time. Zack and Cody was a little bit before Wizard of Waverly Place, and they overlapped in the front end, and then Wizard of Waverly Place and on Deck overlapped in the back end. So it's like I was having trouble picking between. I knew it was between one of those 2 for this slot, but I was like, okay, well, I'll probably go ahead and go with Street Life of Zack and Cody because looking back on it, the episodes were much more enjoyable, and I remember more of the episodes, like me having a good time with them and more of the plots versus Sea Life on Deck, right? Sea Life on Deck at a point did get kind of gimmicky. People became kind of one-trick ponies, one-dimensional characters and stuff like that. Like Woody would just be dumb and like Zack's just, kind of dumb. Cody tries things and he's like, I'm just smart and I'm dating Debbie Ryan. And like, I'm jealous. Like, I'm jealous, dog. You happy? Like, I'm jealous.
She wasn't that bad back then.
I mean, at the time, I thought she was cute, dude. I
kind of agree with David. I didn't want to say it, but
I have always thought Debbie Ryan was cute. I don't know what it is.
She's alright.
Cute. I've always thought she was cute. That's just my opinion. Anyway,
she's no Demi Lovato.
I mean, she ain't no Demi Lovato. She ain't no Selena Gomez. Like I get it, but like I always thought she was cute. You know what I mean?
I feel like Cody's so good.
It's so good.
You got niggas like Esteban.
Yeah. I was stuff like Mr. Mosby. I love the haunted room. I remember for the.
Oh, dude, that episode.
Yeah, with the seance and stuff. And then they had like I remember the one where they got superpowers. Where,
when they wished on the shooting star.
They wished on the shooting star. They get superpowers, and then Zack had like super speed, and he like reverted the world back to dinosaurs. It's just like there's so many times where I think about that show where I literally. I can't even describe it. Like, I'm just smiling so hard because it's so nostalgic. I see a clip come up and I have to watch it. Same thing on TikTok. It's like I see part 1. I'm watching the whole episode on TikTok because it's so nostalgic watching the show. And it is a good show. Like some of the jokes, like I can't name it off the top of my head, but I'll see a joke where it's like it's double layered in its meaning. And as I get older, I'm able to see it. And it's in the era where it's like they can do jokes in kids shows that were made for the parents, and it kind of like went over the kids' heads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of that was really nice. Prindle. And there's so much stuff that I could say about Zack and Cody. I love it.
Remember the Jenner that had a crush on like their mom?
Remember
the nerdy Jenner?
His name starts with an A.
I don't remember the name.
No, it starts with an A, but I know what he looks like.
Yeah, I remember I saw him on TikTok the other day. Like, that was me. I was like, you're still alive.
I remember the episode with him, and I think it was Cody and they were like scraping bird poop off of the roof, like all the way up. I don't know. He was really funny.
All the characters that slapped, they were all good characters.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it might be on Disney Plus because it was a Disney Channel show, right?
It was a Disney show, yeah.
I kind of want to go rewatch some episodes now. Like, I don't know. Every time we do an episode revolving around like something
in the past,
like media wise, like we did the gaming 3x3. I was like, damn, I want to play Minecraft. Like every time we do a 3x3, it always makes me want to go do something from the 3x3.
Mm-hmm.
Like the food 3x3, I was like, damn, I gotta eat this now.
Yeah, I gotta eat it.
And then like the cartoon 3x3 regular show, I was like, I gotta watch regular show now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think now I want to go watch some like episodes of Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Yeah, it's just so good. I just love it. It's so nostalgic. Like when I think of like my elementary days, I do think that's like one of the first things that comes to mind, right? Obviously not counting like, because this was the hard part when I was younger is I did watch a lot of like Disney Channel shows and Nickelodeon shows and stuff like that, but I also watched a lot of like cartoons and like
Cartoon Network.
I guess like
where
anime, but I still consider them cartoon like Bakugan, Pokemon, Beyblade, Digimon,
I lived
all that
on
stuff.
Cartoon Network.
Like I lived on that, so it's like it was kind of hard to like, yeah, this is like defining my era of like this is the era of my life.
I feel
but it's like Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, I think perfectly encompasses everything that is like to be a child and like, oh yeah, that would be so cool if this happened. It'd be so cool if this happened, you know. So I think was really replaced in that same vein. It'd be cool if I was a wizard, you know, doing the dance, doing the Macarena over here, trying to reverse time. I'm like, one Maca, two Maca, reverse time, yeah, let's go. And then I reverse time. But that's my Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Next on my list, I have Power Rangers. I was a Power Rangers kid, all the way, even through like.
Yeah, which one? You gotta take all.
Okay,
of them?
well, no. I'll say I watched a lot of different Power Rangers, and my three most notable are Mighty Morphin, Dino Thunder, and Jungle Fury. I also watched a lot of picks. I also watched a lot of SPD and Mystic Force. But those are like my top three. My top one would probably have to be Jungle Fury. I wanted to make a case for Dino Thunder, but I just feel like I kind of jived with the characters more of Jungle Fury.
Okay.
And like the fights and the powers and stuff of Jungle Fury a little more because like at the time like I was in Taekwondo, so it's like they do like Kung Fu and stuff like that to use their powers, and it kind of like fits what I was doing at the time. Mm-hmm. So I think Jungle Fury is probably like my goat for Power Rangers. But Power Rangers is really something that kind of transcends my eras because I've watched it literally as far back as I can remember, like probably like 3 or 4. I remember my cousin, he lived next door to me at one point in my life, and my parents wouldn't buy me this like Megazord thing, so he got his parents to buy him one. So it was actually the Dino Thunder, but it was like the Megazord, and then he also had like one of the villains, and we would like make them fight, and that was like one of the things that we did, and you could like disassemble it and all this stuff. And Power Rangers, I had toys growing up. I had all the different Megazords, and I watched it all the way through high school, like through like sophomore, junior year of high school, because it was kind of like one of my fallback shows where it's like I can just turn it off and turn off. And unfortunately, the actor that played Tommy died recently, which is very unfortunate. He was amazing. He was an actual Power Rangers like I don't want to say nerd, but I followed him on TikTok, and he had like a whole wall full of Power Rangers.
But he was in 3 generations.
Like, he was in Power Rangers, like that was his thing. And it's sad he's gonna die, so I was like, okay, well, commemorate this. Like, I'm gonna watch like Mighty Morphin. Like, I'm gonna start like watching Power Rangers. Because that's one of the things I did want to watch is like a bunch of different series of Power Rangers. Now, kind of seeing them when I'm older, and I will say it's very like, it definitely is made for kids. Looking back on it, like I don't think about it that way. I remember like, oh yeah, they're in high school, they're so grown up. Like when I was like a kid, right? Yeah. And then and watching the jokes now, like as an adult, it's like, wow, like. When I was like 10, I probably wouldn't honestly laugh at this, but it's like being nostalgia, you know, Roasting the Glasses, that all carried when I was watching it. And then it's also, most of the show is from the Japanese show. So it's like, when they're in the suits, they're in the Zords, and then when any of the monsters are happening on screen, for the most part, it's like taken directly from the Japanese show, and it's just like that really bad dub over, like 90s dub, where it's like, their lips are doing this, but it's like, I am going to work. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like really bad, and the jokes are so bad, and all the music. But it's so nostalgic. Even just watching it again, it brings back old memories.
Was Jungle Fury not in the American-made version of it?
I think Jungle Fury,
I think it was an American one. But I was watching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Because after, after a while, they do this, like, all right,
they did. Because I know, like, I think Dino Thunder is actually Korean. There's a Korean Power Rangers, and then they... I'm pretty sure they're Korean. I could be wrong. They could be Japanese still. But it's like, that was the same thing as Mighty Morphin because that was like early 2000s. So it's like, they would take clips. So it's like, they would record like, if we were Power Rangers, we'd be doing our day-to-day things. and then something would lead into this, and then we all go Ranger mode at the same time, and then that's when they would just take it from there and they just voice over everything. It was like, oh yeah, take this. And I do all this stuff. It's like, time to transform. And every episode is exactly the same. I was watching it with my dad. I was in the living room watching it. My dad was watching it too. And then we went through a whole episode. It's a 20-minute episode. And he's like, man, they're transforming pretty fast, huh? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, man, they already beat the villain. It's been like 5 minutes. I'm like, nope, it's been 20 minutes. It's just like explosions and jumping and the same clip. Like, it'd be a normal punch. Like, and it's like played like 4 different times at 9 different angles. And it's like, that's
how you saw the kid. The kid's like, oh my god.
It's so powerful. But
that's why we enjoyed like the whatever year it was when the Power Rangers movie came out, because it's just nostalgia.
It's so nostalgic.
I was gonna bring that up. I was like, yeah, did you watch the Power Rangers?
I did not watch the Power Rangers.
What, 2018
or something? I think it was
2017,
2017, but I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it? It was pretty.
Oh, it was so like for me because I was like, oh, Power Rangers. I watched Power Rangers. Yeah. Even though the movie might be trash, I don't think it's trash. I think it got trash because like more than it should have.
Well, the thing is, that's when I was like during that era is when I stopped watching Power Rangers, and I'm like, I'm not gonna, because like that was kid me. I need to grow up and like get out of this. And of course, I was watching like anime, like ecchi and shit like that. But it's like,
I need to grow up. Anime titties, anime titties.
Exactly.
Let's go. I'm an adult.
Oh yeah, baby. But no, like that was in my time. It came out during that time where I was like, I'm not gonna watch Power Rangers because that's for kids. Even though I knew, wasn't the movie more like adult centric?
No? It was like more, I think it was made for our age.
Yeah, more like
at the time.
Because
I think they realized like, oh, the people who watch Power Rangers are our age, so they just kind of catered it.
So I knew it was like a little bit older with some of the stuff. But I was like, I'm not gonna do that. And then like recently, like last year, I was like, you know, I kind of want to like when I was making the watch list, even though it's not anime, I put I'm pretty sure Power Rangers on the watch list.
We have a whole like cartoon section though.
Well, I do have a cartoon section, but I think I did put Power Rangers on there because I am gonna eventually watch like all the Power Rangers and stuff like that. Not all of them because there's so many, but like all of like the main ones and most of them like I think of. I know there's technically, even though it's different series, there's technically one long overarching plot. If you like read into things like, oh, that's hinted at this and this and this. So there's one long plot and then it leads into like the comics. So I want to watch it and then eventually probably read the comics. Cause I know it gets pretty crazy like with Tommy Oliver and the comics and stuff like that.
Yeah, Tommy Oliver is canonically the strongest character in Power Rangers.
Like he's destroying hyperverses and stuff like that. It's insane. But yeah, Power Rangers, it's kind of one that transcends all of the times and it holds a special place in my heart. And I did want to also take this time, like I said, Rip, the actor. I forget his name.
Tommy Oliver?
Yeah, I forget his name.
His real name.
His real name.
Yeah, no, he is Tommy
Oliver. He is Tommy
Oliver, yeah.
Yeah. So
one of the most recognizable characters in Power Rangers.
He really is. And I want to say like I liked him more in Mighty Morphin, but dude, I fucking loved him in Dino Thunder. Just him being like the mentor and like the Black Ranger, the Bronchiosaurus. Like it was just like him. It was so cool. Like. Because I watched Mighty Morphin first because that was just what was on TV, and then I deliberately watched Dino Thunder because I just fell in because I like dinosaurs. They're so cool. Because I was like, well, I mean, like Mighty Morphin was dinosaurs too, but I was like, these are shitty dinosaurs. Like these are the cool dinosaurs. I like these.
I mean, there weren't all dinosaurs in Mighty Morphin because they're like with Sabretooth and then like the
Triceratops and Pterodactyl and Mastodon. Well, I guess Mastodon's not really a
but
like Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Oh yeah,
get on his head,
no, you're right. No, get on his head,
don't pressure me.
Like they weren't all dinosaurs.
They were all prehistoric.
Yeah, prehistoric. Right.
Like Dino Thunder was like they were all dinosaurs. I was like, fuck yeah, like I'm vibing with this because I was a kid. I was like, dinosaurs are so cool. Right? And seeing Tommy Oliver in that role was it was so nice to see him coming back. He had like the most 2000s look I can ever think of. But next on my list, all these kind of like I've watched at different points in my life. They kind of transcend the era, but it's like they did have a spot like in my life predominantly. So next is gonna be SNL. So that's gonna be like my live action comedy. And I would honestly put Key and Peele and Dave Chappelle Show. Honestly, Dave Chappelle Show number one against those three. However, my dad and I, the only reason why it's on my list is because my dad and I every Saturday. We would stay up and watch SNL together, but we'd actually go to the gas station and we'd get chocolate milk and some kind of candy. And him and I we would get Trimo, yeah. This like when I started doing it, it was like before we knew what Trimo was, and then that's how I knew what Trimo was because he's like, you know what, we're gonna drink this. I'm like, all right, cool. Because I always got like.
He put you on.
SNL. He put me on. So then like we would stay up to like 10 o'clock because it comes out at 10:30, and then we would like 10 o'clock we'd go to the gas station, we get chocolate milk, so Trimo, and then he'd let me get 2 candies, any candy I want, like no matter what. And then him and I would just stay up till midnight and watch SNL and we'd sleep on the couch together. So that was something that's like that I did with him was like a really big bonding thing with me and my dad, and that's the only reason why I could put that above like Dave Chappelle. The content was ass. I don't like SNL. Like it has.
SNL had its moments.
It has its moments, but at the time that I was watching it, it was once like because like I would say like the 80s 90s is when they were really in their bag.
Yeah.
And like the late 2000s, it was just terrible. But it was just the fact of I didn't really care it was on TV. I was just spending time with my dad, so it was really nice. Spending that time. It was a really quality time. And it was nice because as a kid, like I get candy at night. Like let's go. Like I'm eating with this, right?
I feel that.
So that's why I had to put SNL on my list, just because of like the not just the show, but the stuff surrounding the show that happened when viewing the show.
Yeah, like I haven't watched SNL in years, but like I don't think the like late 2010s SNL is as bad as everyone says it is.
It wasn't as bad, it's like. My problem with it is that it got pretty stale, and they wanted to play on old. Like they're like, oh yeah, this bit used to hit, so let's do it again. But they do it again bad, and it's like it's not gonna hit the same as it did back in the day. And then like in the mid 2010s, it got way too political. Everything's politicized, and it's like.
Well, I think that's more now even.
Well, it's like it started in the mid 2010s, like 20. Basically,
when they started doing that Trump skit thing, then they were like, oh, we can do politics. Let's just do that, and then they did it like a lot more.
Yeah, and then they just like hammered too much into it, and it's like, okay,
yeah,
like they on both sides of the aisle, it's like. I'm tired of all. Like, I'm watching this to not think about politics. I want to like see comedy, and I get like it's supposed to like comedy revolves around like the economic and the socioeconomic and political state of the world and stuff like that. Like,
James. That's how you were going. He said the word. Like, is he really about to say this? Yeah, and he did.
That is what it's supposed to be a mirror up to society. But it's like at a certain point, like I don't want my politics
at some point.
Exactly. I see politics all the time, all day, every day. It's all in the news. It's everywhere. I don't want to see it when I'm trying to have fun. Right.
I feel that, yeah.
And SNL unfortunately went that way. I think I've seen some stuff of their newer stuff now, and they are starting to kind of like go away from it. But if the views go down, you bet your ass they're putting a Trump skit back on because they know it's going to get views.
Especially when the presidential race starts up again.
Exactly.
Because the president's running. They're going to hit. All right, Trump skits, get it.
They're like, let's get it, baby.
Right on. Like, wait, tell me, Hillary's running too? Hillary skits running.
Come on, baby, that's too easy.
Like they were eating when Hillary and Trump were the prime time. They're like easy money.
Like, Hillary, everything was Hillary.
Every week it was like I was like, it's like you guys not running out of ideas with Donald Trump and Hillary. Nope. Every week they have a new skit.
Eat it up.
And they did. They did.
So every it's like, but I think they are starting to kind of go away because like they banned not banned, but they like wouldn't let certain people on the show, like Dave Chappelle. They wouldn't let him on the show because of his type of humor. And then he hosted a show. I think.
I was gonna say he just.
Well, no, that's why I said like they're starting to kind of like go back to what it was. So they're putting more people on the show that they originally wouldn't put on the show because of how like controversial or raunchy they are, right? Yeah. And it doesn't kind of fit that narrative, not narrative, but like it doesn't fit with what they do. No. But they're starting to kind of go away, which was why I kind of want to like start watching it again. But I don't know, like it's kind of like lost its value in my mind because I used to hold it in such high regard. But I think it was just the situation surrounding the viewing of it is what I held in high regard, and not just like the actual show itself.
I feel that.
I did completely forget about SNL. You just reminded me that. Yeah. I used to watch that with my dad.
But if it wasn't for like the thing I have with my dad, I would have put the Chappelle Show in that slot. I was also thinking of like Family Feud. Because I watched the fuck out of Family Feud.
I remember you told me. I guess.
Would you consider this like a show like
I feel like a game show representative isn't bad.
Yeah, like I want to put because like I fucking love Steve Harvey. Like he's such a charismatic and funny and cool guy, and I love him. And like him on Family Feud is. I've seen other Family Feuds, like the older ones, without him. It just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel the same.
My Family Feud
was Steve Harvey.
I love the memes where like he asks a question and someone say something dirty and he'd be like,
he's like,
he's like, see my show. Anyways, blowjob.
What is something? Who do with a prostitute?
It's like, sex?
Oh
my god! You really came on my show.
This is a family show. This is a family show.
Or like when the girls
show me sex.
Yeah, show me sex.
It's funny.
I like it when the girls hit on him.
They're like, "Hi, Steve."
Like, what are you doing here? What's happening?
I also love it when they give dumb answers. Like he's like, "What comes after pork?" And he's like, "Coupon." And he's like, "Good answer. Good answer."
He ate though. He actually ate with that one. He actually ate. And I remember when I saw that coupon. I was actually mad that that wasn't on the board because that one should have been on the board.
No, it's just funny because no matter what answer someone gives, good answer. Yeah, you gotta support.
You gotta support.
You gotta support him, but like. If it, I don't know. It's like what's something you do in the water? It's like fly a plane. Like, good answer. Yeah.
You don't be the one family member like you're dumb. It's on it. It is on there. Like,
I also love it when they're doing like the buzzer at the beginning and like it's something regarding like their wives or something. And they're just both like, I'm not gonna click the button. You click the button. It's like what's one of them was like if you described your wife in like which one of the 7 dwarves would you describe your wife in?
Oh yeah.
And they're both just like, nah. And he's like, Doc? Show me Doc.
Show me Doc.
Yeah, Family Feud. Wrong. And the other guy's like, Grumpy?
I totally forgot. Family Feud should be an honorable mention as well. For
that is honestly an honorable. I used to watch the hell out of Family Feud. Like I think at the point I've watched like every Steve Harvey Family Feud when I was younger, like in middle school. Because I watched.
That's funny.
If I didn't have like other shows on here, I was watching the Game Show Network, just Family Feud on there. It was so good. I love the Game Show Network. It was such a big part of my life, just watching the Game Show Network.
Funny. I have seen.
That's why, like, if you notice a lot of stuff, like video ideas and stuff for the channel, it's mostly Game Show Network shows because that's what I know.
Game shows are fun.
Game shows are fun. It's like fun.
But it's like that's my life, so it's like I know these shows so well. I know how they can be done well, and it's like I want to do that because it just seems so fun. I know that we would have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Would they be just tangent or was that actually a choice for you?
No, that was a tangent.
Okay.
I said if I didn't do SNL or like Chappelle Show, I would have done Family Feud.
Okay. Let's get on to your list.
Yeah, sorry. That was like a big tangent. I love Family Feud. All right, so next, I was going to put The Office, but I really sat down and thought about it. I do like Parks and Rec a lot more than The Office. I think the jokes tend to hit a lot more. It does have its slow points, but it doesn't have slow seasons like The Office does, in my opinion. Like they'll have like a couple episode stretch where it's slow, but really every episode, like every running episode, kind of hits its mark for the most part. My opinion on Parks and Rec. I love the cast. I mean, I love the cast of The Office. It's so iconic.
It's very
but I love
cast.
like Leslie and like Ron Swanson being like the manly man, and like Chris Pratt, and he's on it being Andy, like just being dumb and God, I love all this stuff with Andy, like the meat tornado thing with Ron. He's like, let's go to this Mexican place. I don't like Mexican. They have something called a meat tornado, and he's like describing. He's like, you had me at meat tornado. Like it's just funny.
How could you not be hooked?
Yeah, sounds crazy.
I also love like the cut scenes. Like talking about the Kim K, like that happened during the awards show.
The blooper scene that everyone talks about.
It's the go-to blooper scene. There's just so much I can say about like Parks and Rec. That's the reason why I watched Aziz Ansari when I was younger, like his comedy shows and stuff like that. Because
the Asian, Indian?
The Indian guy, yeah. He's pretty funny.
I agree, actually.
Watching him now, he's not as funny. Because some of his stuff's like just like he's just loud, kind of like Kevin Hart sometimes, where it's like sometimes his jokes aren't that funny, but he's loud and energetic, so it makes it funny, right? There's some of his jokes aren't that like they're like okay, but the way he says it is what makes it funny.
Yeah, he does.
It's the presentation that makes it funny.
The presentation does some.
So it's like the joke itself is not that funny, but it's like the way he does it because he's Kevin Hart, it makes it funny. You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah.
But honestly, I just hold it in high regard with The Office. Those two are like, because it, like you said, like people. The Office, okay, Parks and Rec, Community.
Yeah,
like those are like the big three of like sitcoms.
Sitcoms, yeah.
Yeah, like those are like the big ones. I don't know. It's not much I can really say about Parks and Rec. Like more, it's just I love it. It's such a nostalgic show. I can watch it anytime, anywhere, no matter what I'm doing. I can watch Parks and Rec. There's always something about it.
Is that your last choice or?
No, I have a couple more.
Goddamn, how many?
Well, we also talked about Family Feud for a minute.
How many more do you have?
I got 3 more.
Alright.
So, next one on my list would be The Walking Dead. That's another show that I used to watch a lot with my dad. Up through like season 4, and then we stopped for whatever reason. And then I ended up picking it back up, and then we actually this like dumb thing like all throughout my college where it's like we wanted to pick it up together, but like he would watch it without me, and I'd watch it without him. So we ended up like watching it separately together. So like I'd watch a season, and then he'd watch the season, catch up, and then like he would just be like, I'm trying to watch the next season without telling me. Because I'm like waiting on him to finish the season. So then we ended up playing this like cat and mouse game of like trying to catch up. And we're eventually now both caught up. Well, I think he's actually a season behind. He's on season, I think it's 9. I think 10 and they're airing 11 right now.
God damn, dude.
Walking
Dead.
That's like I can never watch it.
But that's one of the shows like, because I love zombie apocalypse stuff and I love just apocalypse stuff in general. So it's like that kind of like scratches that itch because I'd say like I have a pretty creative mind when it comes to like stories and stuff like that. And Walking Dead, it's fun like putting myself in their position, like what would I do in this situation,
right? And
like seeing how it correlates with like Rick and Carl and all of them and how that happens, and Negan even, and like seeing like the character arcs of like going from villain to friend to villain to friend and back and forth and back and forth. It gets kind of annoying where it's like you finally think someone's changing and like they do something dumb like open up the doors letting all the zombies in. Like it's kind of annoying, but at the end of the day, that is one of my like nostalgic shows I've been watching ever since like 5th grade, because we used to watch it live like as it aired every Sunday night, and then we watched like Talking Dead, which is the talk show they did after The Walking Dead, of like them talking about, oh yeah, this is the episode and we have like the cast here and they're all talking and stuff like that. It's really fun, but it is a very nostalgic show for me, and it does scratch that apocalypse itch. Sorry about that, guys. About the video, I think the camera battery died most of the way through, or part of the way through.
I guess we'll see how long.
I guess we'll see like in post. Yeah,
if it did at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it was black when it went.
No, it definitely died.
It definitely died.
No, it definitely died. But it's a matter of when.
It could have been like as soon as I stood up, you know, like it doesn't matter. But yeah, but if we didn't go on that Family Feud tangent, we probably could have squeezed out these last two. That's my bad.
That's fine. That's fine.
It was fun though. I love Family Feud. All right, on these last couple ones, these two are my. They're both the last two are like my fallback shows. Kind of like my, I don't want to say like safe shows, but it's like shows that I can always go back and rewatch no matter what. They're so integral in my life, and they make up not just TV shows, but just about everything that I do enjoy when it comes to media, for the most part. They were flipping back and forth in my mind, but I think I did have to put like my GOAT above the other one. But the second, the runner-up would have to be Supernatural, in my opinion. That is a show that I didn't watch it as it was coming out. I started watching it in 6th grade, kind of around the same time as like Arrow and The Walking Dead and stuff like that. But that was always my fallback show. I would like every time a new season came out on Netflix, I would restart the entire show and watch it again, because it's just a show that I could always just keep rewatching it. It has like that supernatural, dark, gritty kind of feel to it. And currently I've watched up to like season 13 or 14. I haven't watched the last couple seasons.
Bro, you and these like long-running shows.
I can never.
I mean, I haven't watched the last couple of seasons because I'm not gonna lie.
Because I know what he's gonna say next to after this. Tyler loves his long-running shows, bro. Like, just keep that in mind when you see his next show, his GOAT. Keep that in mind.
There's the reason why he likes One Piece.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. At like 12 and 13, it got very arduous and repetitive. Basically, once they did introduce God, like the Christian God.
Introducing God. Introducing God. Let's go.
So they introduced.
It's like WWE entrance music.
No, they introduced God, and they kind of went through like his arc with them, and it got kind of annoying because like all this, they lost all stakes. So basically, no matter what happened, if they died, they get revived. And it's like, or it's like they die, but it was like part of God's plan that they die so they could like not be alive to fight this one villain. You know what I mean? So it's like, it was very annoying and repetitive. And it was like, it ended up a cyclical thing where like Dean and Sam, which are the two brothers, like Dean would be mad at Sam for something, and then Sam would be like constantly working to like make it up to Dean, like for, whatever happened. And then at the end of the season, Sam would like, you know what, fuck Dean, I hate this guy, and do something like Dean would be like, fuck Sam, I hate this guy, and do something off the wall. And then the whole next season is like Sam mad at Dean, and Dean's like, oh Sam, we gotta make it up, we're brothers, all this stuff. And it just got very repetitive of like.
That's why I can't watch shows that just go on for too long, because I feel like they drag it out and they constantly write themselves into a circle. I hate it.
They do write themselves into a circle, and they were very like kind of meta. There was actually an episode where they were fighting this angel, and they get knocked through this window, and there's like sigils on the window, and they get knocked into the actual real world. So instead of Sam and Dean Winchester, it's Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles, and they're actors on the Supernatural show, and like they're talking to like the writer, which pretty weird. The writer of Supernatural is Bobby Singer or Robert Singer, and he is a character in the show named Bobby Singer, and he's like the mentor and the guide of Sam and Dean. And then I remember them talking about they're like, why would you write yourself into the script? He's like, it's not that important, dog. Just like take it as is. And they're just like talking, and they didn't have anything, and like it's basically a universe where like magic and supernatural stuff didn't exist, and that was like them acting in the show, and then they had to like find a way to get back into like the show, which is like their universe. That was pretty cool. And they had the crossover with like Scooby Doo. That was pretty fun. Because like Velma had a crush.
What?
Velma had a crush on Dean.
Like live action?
No, it was all animated. It was all cartoon.
Oh.
It was all cartoon. So like I forget what happens, but they ended up in the Scooby Doo verse, and like they're like with the gang trying to solve one of the like the murders and stuff. Yeah, but it's like adult Scooby Doo. So it's like pretty raunchy, and like Velma's like, oh my god, Dean, and she's like all over Dean. He's like, oh. And it's funny because like there's also like other stuff with Dean where it's like he likes hentai. He was watching hentai one time. And
you just talking about like you're just dropping random pieces of knowledge.
So I guess I'm just accepting it. Sure.
Watching hentai. He was like watching it. Sam walks. He's like, "What's up, Sam?" And he's like, "Are you watching like cartoon porn?" He's like, "It's hentai. It's art. Don't do that." You know, like hentai magazine.
So wait, what Stan said?
Yeah, what Stan said in the blooper reel. But yeah. There's like so much stuff I can talk about Supernatural. I'm not gonna do it because of time stuff, but I can just honestly just keep going into it. I love Supernatural. It is honestly a show that I can pick up to this day. I just have to like kind of stop watching at a certain point because I don't want to like ruin that image of what I have of it. But I will say I did not really care for season 1 because season 1 was literally a monster of the week. So it's what monster are there? What being are they gonna fight? So like 1 week it's gonna be a Wendigo, 1 week it's gonna be a ghost, 1 week it's gonna be a banshee, 1 week it's gonna be like a shapeshifter. You know, it's like that's a very monster of the week. And then once season 2 happened, they had like a very they had like small plots where they'd fight monster of the weeks or whatever. But there was like one overarching thing that went over the season, or even like it was season 2, 3, and I think 4 too. Those are like there was like one major plot point, but they were doing smaller stuff that led into that major plot point. And then they ended up doing like every season was a new thing. So it's like there was one major thing happening every season, and then it just got like repetitive, and I had to stop watching it because I didn't want to like ruin the image of the show that I had in my mind.
Makes sense.
But I'll stop talking about Supernatural because I can honestly keep going. And did you guess Doctor Who? Yeah. So Doctor Who's my goat.
The show that's probably I think it's the longest running like live action show to this day.
It
would have to be.
It would have to be. I think so.
Yeah, it would have to.
I think it would have to be. But I'm talking about like the new Doctor Who, not like the older Doctor Who's.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you know me, you know I love Doctor Who. I've been watching Doctor Who since 5th grade. It's really what defined me as loving sci-fi. Doctor Who is the reason why I love sci-fi so much, and why I'm so like enthralled with sci-fi things. It's also like part of the reason why I like shows like Supernatural and Walking Dead, because they kind of are those like scary, not really sci-fi, but it's like weird scenarios. Like Walking Dead, there's like zombies and supernatural beings, so it's like it kind of has that like fantasy aspect to it. But Doctor Who, I love it. I didn't like the 9th Doctor? I forget his name. It's like some British guy with big ears and a big nose. I thought he was annoying. But then like David Tennant came in. David Tennant came in. He was my goat for a long time.
He's my Doctor. I don't care what anyone else says. He was my Doctor.
He was my Doctor, and I was like, Matt Smith is okay. Like, he's not good. He's like he gets the job done. His Doctor is good for him as an actor, but it was not that good until I rewatched it this last time. And I was like, I love David Tennant, but David Tennant can never do what Matt Smith did. Matt Smith was.
There's two different. I think there's two different Doctors.
Well, no, you have to watch like the character arc of Matt Smith from when like start to finish. Matt Smith is honestly just the better Doctor. Like I think
that's up to.
It's a hot take. That's a hot take.
I don't think it's a hot take because I know people do like him. Like I think it's like a.
It's a difference because the different Doctors.
I think it depends like which personality you like more.
Yeah, so like David Tennant was like the edgy, like doesn't give a fuck attitude type Doctor. Who is like does anything that needs to be done to get it done, you know. And Matt Smith was very much the not by the books, but like the nerdier Doctor. It kind of is by the books for most things. Just kind of like quirky and weird. And imagine like stereotypical like ADHD. That was Matt Smith. Really, the way he acted.
David Tennant was just cooler, in my opinion.
See, David Tennant is cooler. I will give that. David Tennant is
a badass. Okay, you look at something.
David Tennant is the most.
You look at something. This can theoretically destroy the universe, or It doesn't. Let's see.
It's funny because like there was one like there's so many times like the one I can remember is when he was talking to Donna and they were in London and they were fighting this monster and then like the monster was dying and he was just standing there on the ledge with like red on his face. He was like, "Die, perish, you peasant! I fucking hate you." And Donna's like, "Doctor, no!"
He's just
and he's
so
like,
cool.
he got so mad.
He's so cool.
But no, I honestly have to say Matt Smith's my favorite Doctor. Like just rewatching it, I would say like David Tennant's like the most badass or the most cool Doctor, but Matt Smith is just like the best totality Doctor in my opinion.
My brother always like told me he's like the best comparison to like Doctor Who is JoJo because it's like this crazy storyline where there's like a new character every time. You're just like, all right, see if you like this guy. If you don't, we'll change it.
New character, new cast.
We'll
like,
kill him and then
cast.
we'll change it.
Yeah, there's like the people like the partners that go with the Doctor last like. And sometimes a couple episodes, but usually like a season, and like next season.
They really are just Joe Bros at that point.
They really are Joe Bros.
Doctor Who, the JoJo of live
Yeah,
action.
they
JoJo
are
of
just
live
Joe Bros.
action. And then like people die, and he's like depressed. Yeah, but I will say I'm not the biggest. 'Cause I'm still watching the newer seasons, like with the 12th Doctor on. I'm not the biggest fan of the way it's going. It's getting. So,
I heard the 12th Doctor was interesting.
He's interesting, but my thing is that the Time Lords, so they regenerate when they die, they regenerate, right? But they only get 11 or 10 regenerations, right? So they get 11 forms. And Matt Smith was the last Doctor.
He was supposed to be the last.
He was the 11th Doctor. But then it was revealed that like there was technically another Doctor that like they didn't talk about. So technically Matt Smith shouldn't exist. David Tennant should have been the last Doctor. But there's like a Doctor they just don't care about because like he's the one that like killed everybody. So they're like, yeah, we don't count him as a Doctor because he's a murderer and stuff like that. But then like Matt Smith died and there was a new Doctor. He's like, I don't know what happened, but like I'm a new Doctor now. And then like he went and then there was a new Doctor. It was like the female Doctor. And she's like, I don't know what happened either. We're like, I'm on the new Doctor now. And then now she's going and there's gonna be a new Doctor. And it's like it kind of like they ruined their own timeline by saying like you only get a finite number of
lives
of regens.
Just to like say
just to say like because it technically makes sense because Matt Smith was dying and the Daleks invaded the Daleks and the someone I can't remember who invaded the world that he was on, but he was like protecting the world for like hundreds of years, right? And then Amy Pond came and like was begging the other Time Lords like in this like time capsule. It's hard to explain without watching it, but they were like in this like time zone, like sealed away in time, like in another dimension. And she was like asking them to help him. So they sent like some of their life force into him, and that's why he was able to regen. But technically, the way it was described is that his body physically cannot handle another regeneration because it can't change that many times. But then they just like
changed their mind.
They're like, it worked because it worked.
Yeah, it did.
He's the Doctor, so it worked, right? And then it's kind of annoying. But Doctor Who is always going to be my fallback show. I literally have a poster of Doctor Who in my room. It's a show that I can rewatch and will rewatch for as long as I can and will in the future. It's just my fallback show, and it really does have to be my GOAT because it just is the best show of all time, in my opinion.
I feel that.
In my opinion.
Okay, that's fair. Do you have any honorable mentions?
Honorable mentions, Dave
said?
Chappelle Show, as I said. Family Feud, as we talked about. Community, I would have put on there. Arrow and Flash were kind of like up there, hand in hand. There's other shows like Chicago, like the Chicago series, 911, even like Judge Judy. I used to watch Judge Judy all the time. I get home from school, I'd be sitting at the table, and Judge Judy would be on. Because my mom would be watching Judge Judy, or like Law and Order or something. Like, I guess I'd have to really give those honorable mentions because like they did, like I did watch them a lot growing up, and Law and Order honestly could be a reason why I do like lawyer shows because I did watch a lot of Law and Order. But yeah, I mean that's a lot of mentions. But I can just keep listing them off.
Would you count Sunday Night Football as a show?
I mean, if you're counting Sunday Night Football,
I don't know, the Texas Giants game. Bro, the boys calling me.
The boy. All right. Well, I guess that could be a good place to end it.
Yeah.
You think anything else you want to say?
It's been quite a longer episode.
It's a longer episode, one would say.
Yeah, we talked about shows longer than I thought we would have talked about.
Yeah.
This is one of the longer 3x3 episodes, and it definitely would have been longer if we didn't cut it off short because we realized we were running out of time.
Pretty much the last like 3 or 4 things that I said, I would have kept. I could honestly keep talking about all these shows.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that's about it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share. Buy our merch down in the link below. Visit the subreddit, visit the Twitter. Make sure you follow both of those. Make sure you subscribe to us on Anchor and Spotify and iTunes and everything else. And see you next time.